Coming up tonight, we see if it's worth buying an electric van. Gary meets someone who can talk more than him. We reveal how you can get 100 quid for free. Rick nearly takes his own eye out. And it's Lee vs Lee on the Electricians Challenge.
Good morning, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you're listening from. My name isn't Martyn Lee and this is not EV News Daily. However, the legend that is Martyn Lee is on this evening on this live stream, which is all about what, Gordon?
Electric vans, Gary, which is and it's a one I've been looking forward to actually because I haven't been in for the last couple of weeks. I've dived in especially for this one.
It should be a classic. We've been waiting for a long time to get Martyn on, obviously, and the rest of the people that are in the green room. So let's see who's in that green room. So give us a wave, Martyn. That's no, you're Lee Morzak, okay, in the white sheet. So just so you know, yes, okay. And we've obviously got Lee from Morzak EV. Give us a wave, thank you very much. And then we've got a used car salesman in the middle there. You might not see all of him, he is very small. So we've got the one and only, the person who got his parents to name him after a step. We've got, obviously, little Nick Ramo. Okay, why would you name your kid after a plastic step? I think that is cruel.
Oh, well, hopefully we'll be seeing that later.
What,
and I haven't seen the challenge wall. I haven't seen the challenge wall.
You haven't seen the challenge awards, and I'd like to say, for a show tonight, we have got a fantastic. I mean, I'm not leaning. We've got a fantastic race wall this evening, but we've also, for the first time ever, got two competitions we're kicking off. One gives you cash, guaranteed. If you're an electrician or you're obviously in our community, you get some cash. And then we love to take maybe ownership of some themes. We've got the tool wall here, which is similar to what one Top Gear?
Well, I think there was the cool wall, and probably tonight is probably the closest we'll ever get to Top Gear in terms of content as well.
Because we're going to do our version of that without putting them on it. There's one thing we robbed. Let's pick another one at random. We've got the tool from above. What did we take that from?
Well, that could have been, yes, a Vic Reeves outing on that one there, yes.
On Shooting Stars.
On Shooting
now,
Stars.
there is a couple of duos out there. There's a couple of legends. There's the famous double acts, and we know we rank among those, don't we? Morecambe and Wise would be in the talking on the same conversation, Gordon. And then there's those two little lads from the northeast. Well, northeast being close to your heart, and it's
of course,
yes. What part of northeast? You were Middlesbrough, weren't you?
No, I was further north than Middlesbrough.
You were Middlesbrough, yeah. the bleak Middlesbrough. Now we've got obviously Ant and Dec, okay, and their thing is they like to give away tickets on the plane, and we would never be able to stretch to giving tickets on the plane, would we, Gordon?
Well, we are tonight, yes, and this is obviously people do like. I do like to travel sometimes on behalf of the business, and it's myself and two Joes pioneered this little trip last year across to Dublin, and it's really hard work. I'll tell you that. You wouldn't want to win it. You wouldn't want to win it. It's so really hard work.
So stay tuned. £100 for everyone out there. So that's everyone in the electrical industry can get their hands on £100, and also 10 lucky winners will be joining me and Rick on a flight to Dublin. So you could also win tickets on the plane. The only way to do it is to stay on. There we are, look at us. The guy there, that guy impersonating me is a lot older than the real thing. That looks terrible. He's a little bit pasty, I would suggest. He needs a bit of sun. I don't want there to be any sun in Ireland, but we need a little bit of sun for that one. Yeah. So that's great. We've got all this coming up in our show along with our EV theme. Got tons to get through, haven't we, Gordon?
We have, and I thought we'd kick this off. Before we do it, we obviously like to bring in the community, see what they're saying on the topic. So I teased out a little poll last week on electric vans. I think we can bring the results up here, if we bring in my screen here, Joe. So I put out 4 answers, just over 2,500 people voted, and thanks for that. Seems 63% are happy to stick with the old oil burner at the minute, as we call it, the diesel van. 23% hanging on there, waiting for a longer range. Only 6% of the viewers already have an electric van, which includes the lovely classic milk float there, and 9% are planning to buy. So 15% of the audience are either have or thinking about electric vans, and as ever, people always like to share their opinions on YouTube.
On a social media platform, I'm surprised.
There's always a robust selection of opinions, and I've brought a few of them in. We'll just see, so this is the typical things. Probably, yeah, okay. Probably a good one there from Chris Tastic, 100 regular contributor to the channel. So first, I'm an electrical contractor, not a milk delivery service. I don't buy into how green these vehicles are. Many reasons, brackets, why they're not green. They're very expensive and depreciate fast. Other technologies on the horizon, well, we'll see if it is. Yeah. A bit like CFLs and LEDs, I can talk to that, and we can go there. And yeah, loads of things. So that's one thing. alternative end of the scale. We've got Adrian there up north. I've seen he is already in the comments. Thanks for joining in. If you do less than 100 miles, get an EV van. If you're 100, don't. I still laugh on site here about the diesel prices filling up. I'm running my EV van for 80% less. So again, so the positive side, and then someone who's got some experience working in the middle of a city, London, where there are basically good incentives to do that.
And we're going to cover all of those in this theme. We've got some experts amongst us. Now, it's your comments. So we've had 3 comments in there. We love giving them out, and we love the fact that obviously he's in the actual chat as well. So get your comments in this week. We're trying to get those hardcore commenters actually now to appear on our end credit. So we're not necessarily doing the AR register at the moment. So get as many comments as you can in, because it also means we've got somebody in comments corner. Now, we've gone international for this one. We haven't stuck to England. We've gone around the world to bring in another EV expert. And I know you're thinking, you've probably drifted away there, you're probably thinking, owner of a large car making company, maybe somebody who also owns a social media platform and a rocket company and a company
wireless broadband from satellites.
Absolutely, and a company that you co-founded with him, the Boring Company. Okay, I don't know where you come up with the name from, but you got it in there. So if we go over and have a look in comments corner, our foreign visitor is, there he is. Hello, Nick, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
What part of the world do you come from?
Sunny Wales,
Oh.
many moons away.
Okay, so yeah, long journey, couple of flights. Obviously, it's been a late one, and you're joining us. What sort of comments are you hoping to see in there?
All sorts of EV controversy, I hope. I'm an EV driver myself, so I'll be interested to see what comments we get.
Okay, and also you make a wonderful product that's making electricians' life easy. Just remind us of that product.
Yeah, EV Tower. We're continuing to make innovative EV products to make the installations nice and easy.
Okay, so that's who's in our comments corner. So I think we've gone all out this week, Gordon. Absolutely pulled out all the stops. We know it's a difficult subject for the electrical industry, but we're going to be both on the fence, off the fence, and obviously pushing the buttons as well. But the comments will help us with that, won't it?
They certainly will, and if we can't mop them up tonight with the experts we've got in the room, then yeah, you ain't going to get anywhere better than this to get your EV questions in. So we best bring in our guests, Gary. So it is my pleasure to mention Martyn Lee from EV News Daily, Lee Morris from Morzak EV, and Nick Raymore from EV.
Nick, they come.
Gentlemen.
Yes, nice to see you. Yes, great. Here they come. Oh, please, go grab a seat.
Step up, Nick.
Get on there. Nick.
The big lad's in the chair.
No, the big lad's in the chair.
Oh, there we go. There's plenty of banter tonight, and we're off already.
Yes, there is. Plenty of banter. We've had a great day. We've obviously spent some time in the mass stabs and all the rest of it. You're on shirt number 3, I would suggest. I noticed you wear the white one down there, okay, because obviously we wrecked some of the other ones we've had. Just remind me why shirt number 2 didn't make the cut there, Lee.
Yeah, I didn't quite get to the hotel to iron it.
No, you didn't. No.
I thought I'd sweat it sort of straight, but it didn't work.
It was creasing us up here, wasn't it? Yeah, that was for sure.
But Lee's very on plan because we can fit some CT clamps to him if we want.
Yeah, it was a little bit cold in there, and boy did we know about it. So if at any point we take one of Gordon's eyes out, so that's fine.
It's warming up now.
Yeah. And Martyn, you join us. We're avid listeners of your podcast.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Someone's got to be.
But I do 4 hours in a journey. You've killed many an hour driving up and down the motorway with your wonderful tones and your insight into the EV world. So thank you very much. And you've not come far. You're just down the road as well.
Oh yeah, only 300 miles away in Dorset, which is why I got my coat on tonight, because it's a bit nippy up here, isn't it?
Well, we'll find out later on. We'll have a look on the nipometer later on to see how cold it gets as we go through the obviously the evening. And long-time friend of the show, and I only found out this evening, I didn't know that you've also, Nick, got your own YouTube channel. So if at any point you want to plug that, I'll try and see if we can get you maybe up to 30 or 50 followers by the end of the show as well.
Oh, thanks very much, Gary. Yeah. I mean, I've reviewed more EV chargers than you guys have, so I mean, you know.
But nobody's seen it, have we? Let's be honest. So you may have reviewed them, but nobody on the planet has seen those reviews. But I like your spirit, and you've even put a little bit of a YouTube branded on your shoulder there, just sort of plugging away that you're actually doing a bit, which is great.
Well, yeah, you've got to do that. I mean, I haven't got as many tops as Lee. I mean, Lee's got a shop in his car. I mean, he's going to have costume changes during tonight's show.
Yeah. Right, so we normally like to start with 60 seconds. We've obviously had some mega banter today. I'm going to start off with, you chose the seat, Lee, so
Yes.
you're a avid watcher of the show. You knew which seat not to choose. 60 seconds, tell us all about you for people who don't know who you are.
So my name's Lee Morris. I used to be an aerospace engineer, worked in the aerospace industry, did a lot of travelling, built up a big carbon footprint. Saw the electric vehicle revolution taking off over there. So when I moved back to the UK, I was building a house and sort of transferred my career over, took some time out to build my house and wanted to get into the installing renewables and trying to make a positive difference, or what I believe is a positive difference to the world. So I set up Morzak EV, which is now Morzak Limited, and we do electric vehicle charge points and solar panels and battery installations in the Midlands region.
Okay, two things there for me. Big carbon footprint. Which one is it, the left one or the right one? So I couldn't say that. And everybody got the limited bit in there. So yes, he is doing dividends because it are a lot better. So you say the EV world is cruising along for you. You don't need to be that honest with us. Okay, so Martyn, tell us a little bit about yourself, whether it be personal or professional.
Well, first of all, thank you for the invite to come. This is hallowed turf at eFIXX. This is Wembley, Anfield, and Old Trafford all stacked together. As an avid viewer of this show, it's lovely to be here and see behind the scenes as well, and a fine biscuit selection. Thank you, gentlemen, just to top up the curry that we had earlier. EV News Daily is a daily podcast about the electric vehicle industry and everything around it. So I'm an EV enthusiast, but not an evangelist. So I'm not going to tell anyone they've got to drive an electric vehicle if they don't want to. If you want to stick with your combustion car for however long, that's absolutely fine. It's the right thing for some, it's not for others. It is the right thing for us. Got into it many years ago, buying just personal EVs and things like that, and realising that my wife had just zoned out when I talked about electric cars, and so I thought, well, I'll go do a podcast about them, which she loved, because I've got a little shed at the bottom of the garden, so she never sees me anymore, which is a secret to our happy marriage. So I talk daily about what's happening in the world of EVs, news, vehicles, bit of battery storage, bit of solar, where it comes in and appropriated like that. And hopefully educating people about driving, living with an electric vehicle, and and what it's like and the pros and cons.
It's going to be a good one, folks. And we've also got a used car salesman in the form of EV Nick over there, or the Ramo Step, or whatever you go by nowadays. I know you've got a bit of YouTube on your arm. So tell us, the world of used cars then. Tell us all about that. And moving on to the next part of the show, where we're... Come on, tell us all about used cars.
So I work for my dad, now we've gone limited because dividends are really good. So I'm now a director of the company because obviously can't get dividends otherwise. But we sell all cars. We don't just do EVs. We do EVs, we do petrols, we do diesels, we do vans, we do everything. But I am predominantly prefer electric vehicles. They make a lot more sense for our transport. You know, they save an absolute fortune. There's a very few niche case customers they don't fit at the moment, but the majority of people can make them fit and, do that. I also have a YouTube channel on the side, which, I've done everything from renewables to solar to EV chargers, but everything's kind of around the green space and gadget space. But if I do a lot about Octopus EV tariffs. So if you want to join Octopus, go to evnick.com/energy. There's a code there to get 50 quid. We're giving it to Octopus. Might as well get that one in.
See you in 2 weeks. So let's unpack that first. So we're going to unpack that. So if you work for a limited company, he must be a shareholder, Gordon. I think that's something we're going to come back to later on, because I think when Nick comes around and thinks about shares, he's a bit like the reverse
financial
Warren Buffett.
pundit.
The reverse Warren Buffett.
So we'll take a deep. But obviously, yes, we know what you do professionally. We need to find out if our guests are actually any good as electricians. So obviously, I've seen Lee at work, so I've got a hint. Yeah, expecting big things. Martyn, you do a bit of DIY yourself at home?
Oh no, of course not.
No.
I talk into a microphone for a living, as if I'm mucking around with the electricians. We have a great electrician who's come in, put solar in for us. When we bought the house, it was, I don't know, you guys know what it's called. With the old, I remember growing up with mum and dad would have the fuse wire, get under the stairs and pull a fuse out that had burnt through, whatever that's called. That was in our old 70s house, so had all the wiring and stuff done, but I wouldn't dream of touching it myself.
Flat pack furniture?
I'd give that a go.
Yeah. You can hold a screwdriver?
Barely.
Right.
So my main key is to beat Nick's time, because Nick's obviously someone who's done it previously.
Just with that in mind, let's bring in Handcam and just see that Nick's now joined over here. He is top, believe it or not, it looks like the bottom, he is top of the slow wall. So you're trying to get...
Yeah, but above Rick. I mean, that's the most important accolade we can get.
Leave my mate Rick alone. You leave him alone.
So I want to be below Nick, so to speak. I want to be underneath him. But because it starts at the top up here, and the times go down, but then they go up that side.
Yes.
Well, the good news is, Martin, at my height, I'm below everybody.
So I've known Nick for a very long time. So there is
sorry about that.
Right. Anyway, we'll let
some personal rivalry.
we'll let the community decide. Anyway, so Nick's already done it. So when Nick's out tonight, he's already on the wall. It's obviously your turn to join in. So if you think that Martyn was the fastest, put Martyn and his time on there. And if you think Lee was the fastest, put Lee and his time, and you could win a prize.
So Lee versus Lee, or M versus M. Okay, if we were into what we're doing. Electrician versus broadcaster. Okay, I think that just about.
I think you're going to be all right tonight, by the way. I think you'll be okay.
I don't know.
I haven't seen these.
Well, now this one's going to play out.
What's the prize, by the way? You win a prize?
You don't win a prize. You get a T-shirt.
T-shirt. It's a T-shirt. That's
It'll be a bundle.
Well, the good news for Lee is wherever he finishes, he's going to be the shortest electrician on the wall.
Oh, I tell you, gets nasty. That bullying here, low-level bullying tonight on this show tonight.
It's going to have to be low-level bullying, not very tall.
Right, let's have a look. Some time's coming in. So we're hoodwinked there. So
You haven't got a whiff of this, have you?
I haven't seen anything. I just knew it was running behind schedule when I rang up. So which normally means it's been a long time doing the challenge wall. But we'll see on that. So there's a split here. Some people think it's something hoodwinked. It's going to be Martyn.
Broadcaster versus.
Everyone's.
Who saw that one coming? Wow.
Yeah, you've got ambition to be above Nick. And obviously we've got the other Nick in the room. Nick Tucker is already on there as well. But
He's top 10, right? He's top 10 up here.
He's the fastest Welshman on the board, I think. Oh, no, he doesn't. Jack beat you. Jack Sadar Wilkins.
He's the fastest person to invent a steel column on a concrete block for EV chargers. That's what.
Well, let's cut to it. Let's see what's going on. I'm looking forward to this one here. Right, let's go.
Here we go. So
who's up first?
That's the thing, isn't it? Defend yourself at all chances here, folks. First up is. Oh, use the step. We know who it is. Well, let's just start off with a full rainbow. Well, I don't think that's the earliest full rainbow we've ever had.
Absolutely. Yeah. Needed it to reach the switch to start. That's brilliant.
Just for the camera.
Oh, I bet it wasn't. Oh, okay, well, it's we know where we're going later on, folks. We've seen the back of his head, but we'll save it for a moment. Here we go then.
Right,
so,
in with a bit of tape.
do you know it was a race? That was a bit slow with the tape. Here we go. So I'm first
A
on.
laid-back style.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Here we go.
We're always say if it looks slow, it usually is. There we go. That's it. Round.
You've got a similar look to Martyn about you. So when we bring Martyn in, you'll see.
I did have some black specs that I could have worn tonight. We would have been little brothers together.
Now, normally in the edit, Joe speeds this up, but I think it's almost like he slowed it down. It's like a slow motion version. No. It's like an action replay.
Go and steady wins the race.
Right, so you're in with croppers there.
Yeah.
Particular
Stole-
brand them? Are they branded?
Stole them.
Yeah, they are. They were a gift.
Who gave you that?
Yeah.
It was from somebody who worked for the DNO.
Oh, as we call them, stolen. So Lee's in with the stolen tools. Did he steal a screwdriver as well?
No, that's my
Little short one, isn't it?
Stubby.
Yeah, in most people.
A half Ramo as well.
Love it. Look, and leaves the foot there as well, holding Ramo down in case he jumped off. Loving the board there as the qualified electrician, looking good. So we're down here. Are you going to sit on it, or do you think you're?
I mean, this does look slow, but actually could be deceivingly fast, actually.
So I'm not used
Precise.
to working with the 2.5 mil conductors.
Oh, that's get an excuse in.
Get them in.
Are you used to using the handle on your screwdriver, or would you? What is that all
So
about?
that is it's a technique. It's like like the gearing on a racing bike. A smaller, you can move it quicker.
Yeah.
There's his aerospace engineering coming out.
Looking at your blue pants with the flaps.
I thought you hadn't spotted that, Gary.
We're just waiting for that moment as we go.
I mean, I'll give you this precise. It doesn't look like a lot of mistakes here, actually. This is looking.
There they are again, them pants.
Yeah, there they are.
So here we go. So this is pretty good. No mistakes. I would say no mistakes.
Yeah.
This is a clean run.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
Where are the screws? Where are they? Where are they? They're there somewhere. Pants are on show. Oh, it's a disaster. Absolute disaster. Oh, dear
Smaller
me.
cable reel, I'd have been able to reach it.
Oh, size again.
went
folks.
wrong there. That was doing so well,
Here we go. Are you standing up at that one? Here we go. Bald head and all. He's going to get up there eventually, folks. Well done. Yeah, so that's the first one.
Right.
One electrician broadcaster up next. Straight on the step on the first one.
Aggressive push of the switch there.
Yes, it's the
head shaking there.
Just in there. So he's a bit of a unit, folks. I imagine there's a whiff of rugby about him in the past. Yeah, okay,
Right. Oh,
be very
Not
careful.
messing around, right?
yeah.
No,
Put the tape long. Wouldn't have done that. I'd have used the sticky side as well. You seem to have used the non-sticky side there. Listen to Rick though. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, we're in. Straighten it up. This would be good. Now, folks, this looks as if we speeded this
wow.
one up, but we haven't. Okay, so this is a pretty rapid, Mr.
You
Lee.
said earlier on, Martin, you weren't competitive until you got through the door.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. I know, because I watch this obviously every couple of weeks, and I think I'm going to be fine when I do it. I'm not going to take it seriously, and I'm a bit sweaty. I'm shaking.
You started off commentating on yourself, and then you decided that was wasted energy.
He started off commentating and then went very quiet as it got serious.
I'm wondering whether this could be the fastest person with a ginger haircut to actually get onto
Now
the
look,
I'll have to look at that one as well.
I'm a lefty.
Yeah, I'm left-handed as well.
And,
Nothing like ginger, so
and ginger. I basically qualify for a blue badge at this stage.
absolutely. So here we go.
Look at that, quite
This
a
is
good
quick.
quest. This
Yeah,
is-
yeah,
this
it looks
is
quick,
fucking
but
good,
that's the
this,
problem because
actually.
it's edited, folks. So just remember, this is race 1 of 3. They get their fastest time. So again, we've got to get it to 3 minutes.
Don't bother tidying it up.
no, that's
Just don't
my
go for the
mistake.
tidy up.
Wasting time. I don't know who's done that
Automatic
before.
strippers, they're quite good.
Which Nick moaned about relentlessly that he never got an option for.
Yeah.
Now, I think you waste some time here as well on the CPCs. I was camera person on this one. I didn't see your other 2 runs, but you then went for separate CPC holes and the screwdriver started letting you down a little bit. This is great until this point, folks.
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought that perhaps using the 2 holes in the back of the socket would be a winner.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it was.
Yeah, it could be, yeah, it can be. Depends.
Just because you've got 2 holes, you don't have to use them both.
Right, that's my mistake. Just go with the, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, here we
So
go.
here we go. So this screwdriver wasn't
Concentration
great,
face on here.
we'd gone from banter to
Yeah.
Oh no, I
This is
started
the
off
game face
I
on
was
now.
around Mr. Billy Big Balls at the beginning, and then no, by the end of it, no commentary. Dead serious.
To be fair, for a broadcaster, you're turning the screws in the right direction to
Okay,
start with.
right.
Which is,
I'd be careful where you're going with this, Lee. I've seen both times.
He's part of the wind-up team, don't worry about it. Yeah. Remember, electrician versus a broadcaster in red trainers. Everyone spotted those red trainers, and there's concerns out there in
They
the
are
audience,
my
folks.
eFIXX trainers.
Yeah. He's wearing blue ones now, folks. He don't know the white pair. Here we go. 2 screws to go. Would he make a
in the
mistake? Oh, he's done it. He's only got it there. A fumble, full fumble. 1 in the gob, 1 on the floor. So fantastic. And we don't sterilise them between runs. They are just it. So you can see how it's falling apart.
Had a real aftertaste about it as well. Yeah.
Oh dear.
I know, it's all gone wrong. Oh, this is a good start, I thought.
It was rapid. The start was rapid. And then, obviously, I like that you're screwing it at that stage whilst trying to get up, which is a new one. Yeah, trying to get to his feet while looking up. So, yeah, it felt, I mean, when we watched it, obviously we were here live watching those, that looked incredibly rapid at the start compared to your more methodical approach, but we had a lot of issues down at Socket Outlet City.
I'm quite excited.
you ready,
to go
young
watch
man?
it.
Do you know what to do?
No, well,
Well,
hopefully
in the
we've got
studios.
some scores here. Let's have a look.
So bring in hand cam, let's have a look.
Oh, well, I'm just going to pull one out at a time, actually.
Okay, who are you going for first?
So, well, I'm going for Lee
Right,
first.
okay,
Popped out
Lee.
the
So
back
where do you think
first.
you're going to come, Lee?
just not the slowest electrician. I'd be happy if I'm not the slowest.
Not the slowest.
We'll cut that out. We'll cut that out, folks, in the edit. So don't say something different now. And
I mean,
I'll
I'm
put it in
looking up here at Nick Tucker, up here at 317. We're nowhere near there. So we could safely drop down at the 4 minutes territory.
That's all right, 4's
And
all
obviously
right.
people say there's a gap. Well, no, it's wrong. That's just a gap. So I'll just start shuffling some of these around here.
Oh, dear.
There's Mark Cole's gone up there. Ian Lockley. Big Trevor Palmer. You'll know
Big
Trevor
Trev,
Palmer.
yeah, he's in your height group.
Yeah, Big Trevor, so he's above you. David Nichols,
Oh, wow,
Paul
how far you go
Spence
with this,
Plummer,
Gino?
Alex Hart. I'll be generous. Right, so you have fallen in
Oh, well done.
4 minutes and 25. So you're in electrician territory. There's a few non-electricians.
It's outrageous.
It is outrageous. Anything below that. And Martin, let's have a look at Martin. This is going to be a surprise. Oh,
So this is what we're going for. 16.
Let's have a look.
I've got to beat 6. I have to beat my buddy Nick.
so you have to beat Nick Ramo,
I'm never going to hit the end of it if I don't.
you've comfortably done that.
Oh,
I'll tell you. So we're back over here. We're back on this wall here.
I'm on this wall.
Yeah, we are on this wall.
Oh, you can tell
Yeah.
my wife I'm a DIY genius.
Yeah, you can.
not yet.
And you've beaten Lee as well. What? So I'm now, and you've beaten a few other people who were in there. So there's Damien Eden, who's at your
it.
charge
You
now.
wind me up, aren't you?
Mark Allenson falls down there. outrageously, Neil Bridgman drops out there, and I just slip you in there at 4 minutes
sorry, Neil.
and 4 seconds.
Oh, the fastest, I think, non-electrician on the board. Do you agree, Gordon? I couldn't quite work out whether anyone in that list was not. You've got to say Giovanni because he's got an electrical engineering background. I think that deserves a round of applause, folks.
That was,
We had the fastest non-electrician take on the race wall. And all 3 times were uber competitive.
Not a ringer, I promise.
No, and the third go where you got stuck in a tube wasn't far off being as good as the quickest one.
Me and Gary were watching it,
Rapid.
and I all I thought to myself is, I'm glad I'm not Lee.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not about the race wall. He just said to himself, I'm just glad I'm not Lee. It was just a statement.
I was, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. What's this going to say? No, nothing at all. I think it's.
It's absolute.
Understand these folks.
oh, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I suspect that's Eddie Clemens. He's obviously in your neck of the woods, so he can, yeah.
He's one of the few with the code, and we need to get it out to more people, that
Yep.
code. Now, that was fantastic. I mean, truly fantastic to see that. But that means we will, at some point, be able to announce a winner, and obviously the burner phone will come into action. We haven't got Jenny here tonight, so is there anywhere where Jenny is? Can you come over to the guys on the desk, please, and talk for me, if there's any Jenny moments for me?
Yep, so Jenny currently is at someone's yacht club. Yacht club. Whose yacht club is that? I'm pretty sure it's Martyn's, according to Nick. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Jenny down the yacht.
Oh, Martin, have you lent the boat for the weekend?
That place looks familiar.
Yeah, so...
It's got a whiff of Howard's Way about it, that, if anyone back in the...
Howard's with the AI.
Not far wrong.
So we'll come back to you owning a yacht at some point during the show.
Yacht.
Yes, that's what you keep saying.
It's much more tax efficient to lease it.
Oh, right, okay.
We'll come into that, you lot, with your dividends and your yacht clubs, and who says there's not money in EV charging?
There is tons of money in it. Right, so I think we can comfortably say that's the fastest person through the black Lewden consumer unit without an electrical qualification. Would you suggest for that one?
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
So
that's
that is
good.
just incredible. So yeah, that is
Did
brilliant.
we clean up any cables while we were there?
Unfortunately, I had to ask somebody to volunteer to tidy up after themselves. So
Right.
I think you knew at that point, didn't you, being a regular of the
Yeah.
show? No, I tried to dress it. I did try and dress it up a little bit for you, but
Just have a look at that,
Let's
see what
see
went on
what
there.
happened.
So. Oh, he's good with the brush
He
there.
was a bit quicker at that, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, there we go. With the green
different shirt,
cable.
though. Yeah,
Straight in the green
one of
cable.
many that he wore today. No belt, folks. Though we noticed that's what we're seeing most of his undercarriage.
It's like I knew I was a loser.
Have you got a green cable bin yet?
I haven't, no.
Yeah, you should get one of
Got a
them.
man, but
A man, we've got one of them. He just turns and when we're not looking, he takes the scrap out of the yard. So instead, we got the green cable bin, and you've helped us out that day because Doncaster Cables supply us the cables. You turn it into scrap, and we cash it in.
And you were talking about dividends and sort of.
When you say that, we meant to use it on a seasonal festivity thing that happens in the December era.
No,
Okay, we'll come back to that. You have to come down, Rick. Oh, no, it's down here. Sorry, it's down here. So, yeah, we'll go over and find out what's happening on the thing.
It's regular Sergio Fernandez.
Good stuff, yes. We'll have to take some of your details. What is your winning address?
Can't believe someone took a punt on the podcaster.
File.
The big lad who doesn't know how to use a screwdriver.
Oh, you're not going to hear the end of that now. Not there's going to be an EV News Daily special about
Oh, there will be.
Good luck. Have a good one.
It's like Robson and Jerome have got back together with these two, isn't it? Look at them. They are very easy on the eye, aren't they? If you two could put a little ballad together, this could be millions, boys, millions. Yeah, the Welsh wizard and the lad from up north. Okay, so yeah, that's what we got there. Brilliant. So, again, Sergio Fernandez, I didn't realise he follows me on LinkedIn as well, so I saw him professionally on there as well, so thank you very much for that.
Oh, I think he's interested in a lot. I was delving into the IET discussions. Sometimes you need to find an answer for something, and you delve into it.
Sleeping.
No. There's actually quite a good discussion forum on the IET channel. Actually, you can dive in there. So I've been looking at 70-volt speaker wiring.
Oh, right.
And I strayed, and I found a few. I could swear Sergio Fernandez is in that community as well.
Good for him.
Yeah,
Good for him. So
some good answers, but
that is good. So brilliant. We're off and running then. So we're all in a great position. I've got a birthday shout out before we get into the juicy bits. So birthday shout out for Matthew Horne, who turned 27 today. He's also got a lot in common with Nick Tucker, who's here today, because he is a current recipient of a 30 under 30 award. And he's, just to clear it up, he is the guy not cutting the cake. He's 32, and that's Steve, who's been through a tough year himself, but battling through and doing the best he can. So yeah, he's
hacksaw with a cake, is it?
Yes, so he's the manager of the team. And I'd just like to say that he works out of Riverside College along with another guy that we've heard of, Chris Horne, and they just got outstanding at Ofsted. The second consecutive time, only 6 FE colleges in the country can say that accolade. They're back-to-back outstanding. And I'd like to suggest, and so would his dad, that Matthew's going to add to the outstanding talent within that college. So happy birthday, 27 today for Matthew Horne. So brilliant, 2 good shout-outs.
Do you know your Chris Horne's the right way around now?
Horns and Chris's, but I don't know.
Well, you rang the wrong Chris once, didn't you?
No, I said one time it's great to have Dr. Chris Horne on the, and all the rest of it, but it wasn't.
Now, just before we get into our electric vehicle, electric van chat, we've got a bit of lighting, just back to lighting for a little bit, actually, because there's... we're going to give people cash, actually, now. We're going some cash, some real hard cash. Have you got that cash there?
I've got £100 there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit like Jim Bond, this. We're going to be back after the break, and it's going to take you a while.
Once £5,000, did a magic trick,
Yeah.
put it on arrival shares, and turned it into £100. So 5,000 to 100. So that's hard cash.
Thanks for that, Gary.
Good for wedging doors open, that is, for us rich electricians. We're a door wedge.
Yeah, now we've just got a little video. We'll put a little video in here to tell you how this works.
What would you use £100 for? It's down to the end. Looking at their prices, it looks like I can buy more than 4 candles. And I can also buy more than 4 candles.
And I'd use mine to put this face on a billboard.
I'd buy 69 Greggs sausage rolls.
I'd have 3 of these LED floodlights.
I would buy 7 5-foot LED Core Pro tubes. That's what I'd do. What would you do?
Use the promo code eFIXX100 at checkout in the LumXpert app to get £100 off your order. Limited time offer for trade professionals only. Terms and conditions apply. See link in bio or description. Happy shopping.
So it really is dead easy. If you're a working electrician, you've got a business, register for the LumXpert app, and you will get £100 off your first order. So
well, if I spend 110 quid?
You'll get £100 off it. Yeah. So it's...
You'd be mad. I'll tell you, if you've got any, just one purchase. Just go on there, just buy some downlights, buy some tubes, buy something, you get £100 off. Now, my ambition is to make it so painful when they recontact us on an email or a phone call to say it was so uber successful that we won't be doing that again. That's what you want, isn't it? That's the best feedback you can get. You don't want, it sort of worked. You want them to come back with tears in the eyes.
Yeah.
All you have to do, link in the description on this video is it. So in there, show notes for some people if they don't know what it is from the podcast world. It's down in there, and you can just download the app.
Download the app, register. You'll need your company number just to prove you actually have a company. You're taking dividends out as a limited company.
I think there's another way if you're self-employed as well. There's 2 different ways of doing it, but the easiest way is with company house because Rick managed to get round it with me, so he's already registered and ready to go. Yeah. So have a go in there. I'd like you to do it after the show, or at least one hand on the phone while you watch us maybe on the big telly. But you would be absolutely crackers not to want to go over there and take £100 off them.
Yeah.
How nice that would.
Yeah.
Your good wife has already suggested that you're doing it.
Yeah, so do we need some floodlights? No, what do we need? So yeah, definitely.
Are you going to do it, Lee?
Oh yeah. I think my phone's ringing right now. Okay. I'm being told.
Oh right, okay. Absolutely. So that's the first thing. So everybody can get involved in that. That's not just an exclusive thing. If you want to pass it in forums, if you want to send it to your electricians mates, it's not exclusive to this stream this evening. It's a 9 days running now. So terms and conditions apply. So make sure, if you're watching this on catch up, that your 9 days don't start when Gary says it. They're already underway. So get in there and start doing your first order. And then if you want to, delete the app. If you think it's any good, carry on using it.
And there's some other great features in there as well.
There's loads of great features in on lighting design. Yeah. So you'd be mad not to keep the app on your phone. But it's just terms and conditions apply.
Yes. But now on to our meat and veg. Yes, we've got to look at some, not your meat and veg, the meat and veg of electric vans. That's what we're here for.
Okay, electric vans, yes.
Yes. So
prickly topic. I would suggest when they first hit the market, you could almost get to the end of your street if you didn't have your tools with you because the van weight was so heavy in the back.
Well, I've got to think electric vans aren't new. If you just bring in the president, here's one of the original electric vans, although this version seems to have been souped up a little bit, the old classic electric milk floats. powered by lead-acid batteries. We're a massive bank. I think that was, nothing's changed really. It was a skateboard design. The whole the bottom part of the vehicle was the battery pack.
Yeah, it'd be good with some lithium batteries in that.
Well, it would. That's my ambition. I think we'd need a project, and that could be it. So
we all remember them if you're a certain age, and you're rattling down the street, and you're a whizzing noise, and then the rattle of the bottles, and then obviously your milk was delivered. Great idea though, for a number of reasons. When it was a clean way of getting it to you, I'm not sure they were thinking that. I think it was the economics of it, wasn't it, in order to deliver your milk. And it was a sad day when they went. Okay, for me.
There we go.
However, they did bring them back in our village. So Michelle went for it. And then one morning, really early, I was obviously travelling somewhere for eFIXX, I saw the diesel vehicle outside my house chugging away, and I said, you can knock that on the head. He ain't got nothing green about him at all, so he won't do anything.
But we're dial the clock for. Let's look at some of the other models out there. So Axe now send us in a few. So this it was an e-Sprinter. Traditionally the fastest diesel van on the motorway, always getting passed by a Sprinter.
Yeah, so the new one's going to have a 270 miles range.
Yeah.
There's a small caveat with it though, it's quite heavy. It's going to be over 3.5 tonnes, which means under current licensing rules, you'd have to have a tachometer. But the government are currently reviewing legislation, and the plan is that electric vans will be classed as 3.5 tonne, even if over 3.5 tonne. Right.
So is that 3.5 tonne without anything in it, or is that the full?
Yes. Yeah, I think it's just over 3.5 tonne unladen at the moment. So I think it's 3.5 tonne dead. I can't remember the weights. I didn't actually look, but it's definitely over. It's tachometer territory. So the government are looking at changing it. Now, some people might have to do at the moment, because of its weight class, would have to change their driving licence to actually be able to drive it. But you'll be all right, Gordon, because you're on grandfather rights. I mean, Gary would have to do a retest.
No, I think Gary's in the same category. I think you're still driving licence.
7.5 tonne in it.
7.5 tonnes in it, yeah.
I've moved house with the old driving licence. I feel like a proper man for all of 5 minutes. So 2 battery sizes on the e-Sprinter, and it's got the sort of a high roof option as well, a long wheelbase option. But it starts at something like 58,000 ex VAT if you're going to buy the car. I don't know the lease pricing on that, which I think is one of the things we'll get into, which is, I don't know what the diesel version of that costs, but that seems pricey to me in terms of going EV with that vehicle.
And range, just remind me of the range?
270 is the top spec one.
So if we say 240 is probably what you're going to be getting.
I think you'd get 250 out of it. I think you would get 250 out of it, because they test the WLTP with a minimum of 25% load. Some manufacturers test with more load. Right. So I think Maxus tests with 85% load. So they all do different load tests, but they're required to do a minimum of 25% load.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah. So good. And I like the way they'd use the grey eFIXX-inspired EV charger location on a wooden wall as well. So exactly the same as what we do.
Something I've noticed in all these photographs. We'll go on to the next one. It's right. Which one's this one? This is the. Is this the Vauxhall?
Well, that'd be the clue on the front of it. Even I'd have got that
one.
No.
If you're tuning in from Australia, that would be the Holden.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they don't have the Opel on the our friends in the continent.
Yeah.
So Vauxhall Vivaro, or Citroën e-Dispatch, or Peugeot eXpert, or Toyota ProAce.
But what do they call it in Australia?
Or Fiat eScudo. So yeah, these Stellantis vehicles, they're all the same under the skin. Just depends what brand you've been buying as a work van. If you're loyal to a certain brand, or you have a reason to like the interior or something, they're essentially all the same van from the same company, but just with the different brands that sit underneath them. 205 miles on this official rated range, 75 kilowatt-hour battery, and 6.6 cubic meters load space on that, and it'll charge at 100 kilowatts DC fast charging. So not the quickest, but we'll get on, I suppose, later onto use case, because you might not even need to DC fast charge.
You might be plugging into your customer's lawnmower socket.
Who would do
that? Who would do that?
So one of the things to keep in mind with it, because they've got so many, it's the same van in all these different skins, it's worth looking at what options you want and need, and then skirting around all the different manufacturers, because so I was looking at the Vauxhall and the Citroën, and I went for the Peugeot because my specific options came with a specific model. So if you want extra airbags, or I've got the head-up display. And
did that one include free electricity from customers, or was that extra?
Yes, they all do.
Oh, right, okay.
So yours is that van. You've got that van.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in the Peugeot.
But in the Peugeot one.
Got a picture of that later, so we can show that.
Is it like normal Peugeots? The wiring's really bad inside it, or something like that? Have they moved on since then?
Moved on.
Yeah, they've moved on. The PSA groups and that, one of the biggest manufacturers now. They're huge. So PSA merged with a couple of other brands, and they basically brought them all into one skin. So FCA, PSA merged into.
And that's what is Stellantis.
Yes, that is now Stellantis. PSA Group, etc. is all just now Stellantis.
And with that in mind, are they roughly the same price?
Yeah, approximately.
Well, the same car.
I know the Vauxhall, Peugeot and Citroen are anyway. I'm not sure about the Toyota.
They tend to charge a bit more. Toyota will charge a bit more because Toyota's not part of the Stellantis group. Toyota just buy that chassis, that van, that skateboard, if you like.
They'd be hard pushed to sort of price them too differently because they do look identical and the specs read the same.
Because they are?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
That's what they look like.
Yeah.
It's nothing new. I mean, they've been doing that in diesel vans and what's it vans for years. You know, they've all been using the same skins or same engines and just rebadging them as their own. It's not nothing new, really.
I'll tell you, if this breaks out into the LED lighting world, they'll be doing the same. Really well. Wow. You've let the cat out of the bag. Oh, I'm feeling these LED downlights are all going to be from the same place.
Right. Well, next up, we've got the e-Transit, which is, well, I mean, that's traditionally the backbone of Britain, they used to call it, for the petrol one, wasn't it? I think the adverts used to be.
A little bit different, wouldn't you? If you're going EV, you want it to look a little
What I have noticed...
Do you, though? Do you want it to look different? Yes. Or do you want to look like every other workman who's turning up?
No.
So,
no.
Yeah.
Do you want to have a sort of space wagon and stand out? I'm not sure people do anymore.
We'll ask the community.
Okay.
We'll see what people say. Do you want a van that smacks of electric, or do you just want it to... What I have noticed in all these PR shots they do, they're all grey.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that a sort of industry rule? You must have a grey van shot?
Well, they're trying to get rid of that stigma of the white van image, aren't they? It's
grey van.
Yeah, grey. It's grey van man now. And whatever you do not buy a van in the wrong colour and then try and wrap it red. That's a really bad idea. Just buy a red van.
It's nearly as bad as owning a multi-compartmental vehicle on about the 17th floor of a skyscraper. So I don't know how he gets it up in the lift, because that is not anywhere where logically going to be. Yeah, it ain't on the ground floor, is it? You look, we have not seen any entrances there, yeah?
So this one, 250 miles, 90 kilowatt hour battery. There was a new one announced last week. Those are the specs, the new one announced last week, and that is going to be on sale by the end of the year. And Ford go really big on their Ford Pro. So for their customers who either want that subscription service, or they want those extra things, and maybe it's part of a fleet, or you as a business owner want to have control of your vehicles, to know where your vehicles are in your fleet, the routes and the mileage and stuff like that. Ford Pro is a really big part of their business now, and the Ford Transit is one of their, I think one of the vehicles they're proud of.
Right. Now, I did listen on EV News Daily. You said
Sorry
they were
to hear that again.
Yes, you were on about that this week. Now, the Pro, do they sell them in the US as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So the e-Transit is, they've got the F-150 Lightning in the US, the truck.
Yeah.
They have truck culture. We have, white van culture.
Yeah.
But they just sell the e-Transit over there and over here as well. And it is an important vehicle, like you say. For those of us of a certain age, the Transit was the
original
vehicle, and down my way, sort of Southampton, Dorset a bit further. But that's the thing. That's where they
used to build them.
They bring them in, or that's where they used to build them. So you just see just car parks full of them. So I think a very important vehicle. And most importantly, I think they've made it a much more car-like experience now. So much less like you're in a vehicle that is just there to do a purpose. You're in there with 360 cameras, nice seats, nice dash, a very, a more premium sort of car type experience when you're driving it, which if you're doing a lot of miles, is going to help you do those long journeys and feel fresh at the end of it.
Yeah, and just give us a rough idea of the price. Just a rough.
Don't know the price of the Transit.
They haven't released it yet.
So no prices out.
No, they've just released a new version, so they haven't released the price on it. A lot of van manufacturers last week released new vans, but we expect them to be quite heavily, well priced, because they need. I think, does the ZEV mandate come under vans? Have they got a ZEV mandate?
You'll get onto the ZEV mandate. Ford go really big on their Ford Pro Power on board. So that one that we just saw can offboard about 2.3 kilowatts from a 3-pin. Some of the other vehicles can get 9 or 11 kilowatts continuous out of several sockets on their EV. So if you are going to a job site where there might be a generator, or there's no power, or you're taking the van camping with the family at the weekend to a campsite, using that EV as a power source, that big traction battery that you've got, it's like 90 kilowatt hours, like I say, you can run your job tools.
Air fryer for Gary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Get the air fryer going on the sockets you've got in it.
So is that on the outside similar to the Kia, or is it sockets inside?
Inside, yeah.
Oh, so you could charge your tools on the go then?
Absolutely. So really, really good for electricians.
Outdoor socket?
Well, like the Kia has it plugs into the Type 2 socket, and then it's got a plug socket.
I just
so you can-
envisaged one from BG on the side of it. Yeah, these are great. These, I fit them everywhere. It's like, okay.
No, you get someone from the pub around 50 quid, they'll put that on the side of the van for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Take it on. Right,
Nice.
so that's good. So
That's a Ford Transit. So I'll take it you like that then. Are you a big,
I'm a big fan of the new Transit.
big fan of the new Transit? And Nick, you said this looked awful earlier on. Which one's this one?
This is no, I didn't say it looked awful. This is the Master. So the Master has just been announced. It's 225 miles of range. Again, it's going to be in the higher weight category. This one. So
Who makes this? Who's
this is Renault.
Ah, right. And they're not part of... Oh, I thought they were PS. Oh.
No, Renault's not part of PSA. Renault is part of the Renault Alliance, which includes Nissan.
Right.
But since Carlos Ghosn escaped in a suitcase, Nissan and Renault have not got along so well recently.
Right.
Allegedly.
So this
Allegedly
is,
so,
this is a
yes.
Renault van. Yep. What range was it? This was a...
225 is the WLTP. I think Renault test at 40% load.
Right. But that's over 3.5 tons as well.
I believe it's going to be over 3.5 ton weight when you put a passenger in, when you put a driver in it.
Wow. That's going to challenge a lot of people. That.
Yeah,
But the government are really keen to change the legislation on that. Don't forget the Master is a huge van. It's a big van. It's not like the Traffic, which is the smaller van. I wouldn't buy the Renault Traffic. It's not very good. But the Master should be a good van.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's grey as well. It's a
Yeah,
grey van.
Grey again. It's
grey
more
again.
like a grey blue, that one, I think.
Yeah. Right, next one. Which one's this one? This is another grey van.
Is that a van?
This is the Citroën.
Yeah.
What is this? It's Citroën e-Berlingo, Peugeot e-Partner, Toyota Pro Ace City. What else? Is there? Vauxhall Combo Electric. So again, all the flavours this comes in.
Doblo.
As a little, yes, there you go. As a little minivan or as a kind of little mini people carrier type thing. And this has the same specs as the Stellantis cars. So if you're buying your Citroëns and your Peugeots, you'll know the specs very well. So that's that 50 kilowatt hour battery, 100 kilowatt DC fast charging. And a couple hundred miles range.
Now
But we'll get on to what all these range figures mean in a minute.
Now,
because
what's interesting on this has just been re-announced. So I believe it's going to be sub 30 grand because they're in the middle of a price reduction on this. So it's going to be sub 30k. It's got 170 WLTP, which translates to about 130 real world range. Like you'll get 130 mile range out of it, laden with people in it and tools, etc. And I think the charging speed is 150 kilowatts.
it's 100 kilowatts.
No, it's 150, the new one.
Oh, okay. So is a vehicle like that big enough as a work van for you?
Oh, yeah, obviously it depends on... You can definitely get away with it. It all depends on what kind of work you're doing, what you're transporting, how big your ladders are. A lot of the times it's the equipment that you're carrying. That's a restriction, so you're having to carry big sets of ladders. But doing stuff like EV chargers, people do it from cars, so a van like that would be perfect.
So it's just your steps and that's it. Which can go on the roof by the look of it. If you've got
yeah,
some
I mean,
rails.
if you're carrying things like plasterboards, not particularly electricians, but I've got a roof tube as well for doing any long lengths of conduit or trunking, so that you don't need to carry it inside the van necessarily.
And your ladders to get you in and out of it, or are they just... Because them EV chargers, they're massively high, aren't they? Some of them, they're right up there at your limit. You're up there trying to get them bolts in, aren't you?
So I've moved to one of the sort of 3-rung steps.
Right, okay, yeah. Because the hop-up's a big jump, isn't it? Yeah, them things. You look at them with envy, you think, oh, if only I could jump onto one of them, yeah?
I need mine to clamp stuff on the roof rack a lot of the time.
He did say to me before he come down, he goes, I'm not going to use the Ramo step because I'm so used to looking up at fuse boards and connecting wires in. And I said, Lee, are those the ones under the stairs? And he said, yes.
Brilliant. So we got anything that looks a bit hotter? Because these all look...
Have a look.
Oh, we've got my favourite one coming up.
No, this is my favourite one.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the ID Buzz it's an expensive one. So we're talking about 40k, but it's one of the fastest charging vans out there by a country mile. So I think it's 170 kilowatt charging, 220 real world range. Laden with people in it. Let's be honest, it's one of the best looking. It's a good looking van.
Is that because we've seen such a similar looking shape for the majority of the time that we've also been on the planet? That it's just so pleasing to the eye, and it's like, those split screen camper vans effectively that we saw and envied maybe in our younger years when we were listening to Oasis and stuff. But yeah, it's just so easy to look at, and it's a lovely looking thing. Is it practical as a van though?
I know people who've used them. Again, you could definitely get away with it. You need to look at what you need to carry. I think some electricians probably want to go through the van and look at what they're using on a daily basis and what they can get away with transferring in and out, because you probably don't need to carry as much as what you are carrying, and even if you're in a petrol van, that affects your fuel economy, so you're spending more carrying that stuff around that you're not using. So it's about taking stock.
Yeah, it's probably been less lazy about what's in your van, going, oh, I've got it in here somewhere. Actually know what you've got, and then you'll know when you haven't got it.
Exactly.
You know, how much time do you spend hunting for something you think you've got? If you had 15 items on the shelf, you know what you've got, which is a big difference.
And having your racking organised in a way that you can use it as well, and like you say, so you can access stuff. Because when my van, when I had somebody went into the back of me and
somebody went into the side of mine. It's a story I'd like to go into again. Actually. Yeah, I've just smashed the side of it.
But
that was an EV car that hit my van. Yeah. How ironic.
Is it one with a camera and reverse sensors?
Yes. Yeah. So somebody went into the side of your battery one.
Into the back.
So repairs? Easy?
Yeah, 2 new back doors.
But easy, because I hear a lot of stories about an EV gets a ting, goes in the bin.
Yeah, no, there was no problems with the drivetrain or the battery, but because it was around that time when spares were difficult to get, we were, I think, 3 months waiting for a back door. Now, bear in mind, if you had a petrol version, it'd be exactly the same situation. So it was nothing to do with the fact it was an EV, it was the fact that
you couldn't get a back door.
Supply chains was rubbish at that time, so they had one back door but not the other one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
you just put a bit of OSB on it or something like that.
I'd have had it back if I could. I've just held the door, the dented door shut, because it was a nightmare using a diesel.
That's what I have to do with mine. I told my dented door shut. Mine's not repaired. It wasn't a part shortage. It was an own-up shortage. Okay, next one.
That one, by the way, is on the same platform as all the ID cars. If you've seen the ID3, ID4, ID5, this called the MEB platform, so 77 kilowatt hour battery, usable, 82 gross, and that van, even though it's a van, is built on a car platform. So again, if you are using this as a work van, but you want that car-like experience where you're not just sort of sitting in a utility vehicle, that also ticks those boxes.
But if you can't afford that, there's a clone of it.
Well, let's have a look. That's obviously we. So let's have a look.
Right. A little bit sick.
Wow. So all the chromosomes made the clone, though, didn't they?
This looks like someone's made it in like one of those CDT lessons you might have had back in school.
Play-Doh.
Funny enough, when they launched this, I think they tried to say there's a buzz about this van, so it was almost like they were trying to hint that they copied the design and shape.
It's got a windscreen and 4 wheels. It's and the paint at the top white and the bottom yellow. So
I mean,
so who's this made by?
This is made by Maxus. So the brand that used to be called LDV, but it's Maxus. So it's made by SAIC Electric in China, and then Maxus is the brand of basically the importer who brings it over here. Oh. She's called Mrs. Maxus. She's an Irish lady, and she imports all the ones to the UK and Ireland. Yeah,
very interesting.
Yeah,
£34,000 though, so it's one of the cheapest ones we've looked at.
It looks better now already, doesn't it?
Yeah, all of a sudden, well, that's not so bad. And so it comes in at a low price, and because it's Chinese, and what they want from their cars is all the technology, all the gizmos and that kind of stuff. So it's got the wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, again, all the creature comforts, the cameras and all that kind of stuff. So you've just got to not care about the brand you're driving or where it's made, and that is an issue for some people and not for others.
It's 125 kilowatts of charging though, and the range is 208 WLTP, so you're talking 170-ish real world range on it. So, 170 is quite a good range, but the charge speed, 125 kilowatts, is pretty fast.
So all those cameras around it giving you that wonderful driving experience. The only camera you wouldn't want to see is someone pointing at you driving one. That's the only one you want to miss, isn't it, really?
I don't think it's that, but I think if you pick the right colour, it would look a lot better, like grey.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting.
I've slipped up there. They should have done that in grey like everybody else.
It'd be really interesting to see. So I drove the eDeliver 3, and that looks more rough and ready, and it was a lot more rough and ready than, say, the Peugeot. I'd be interested to see if that is it looks a bit more refined. It'd be interesting to see if that's a more refined drive or if it's still a bit Rough and ready.
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple of LDV EV80s, ex-Amazon vans. I had a ton of them. In fact, I had them in that long. I actually thought I was going to be bringing it here when we arranged this about 6 months ago, and I've sold them all. And they were very rough. I mean, they felt like an industrial vehicle. Where I've driven some vans. Yeah. And they don't feel like an industrial vehicle.
But obviously, Nick, you sold them off the forecourt.
Oh, yeah.
You had a bit of better banter when you were selling them.
I was just about to say, anyone who got lumbered with one of those vans, you've now got it actually on video that you were sold a pup, okay? You admitted you got a rough van, okay? Wow.
For the money of what they cost, the electric, they were cheap. I mean, that's why I bought them, because I was like...
They were even cheaper when you bought them, though, weren't they?
The first one I made profit out of, the other two I broke even on.
Oh, right.
So
better than your shares, then?
Yeah, better than my shares, yeah.
Okay.
But, I mean, for the money, I sold them like a year ago, and they were like 20 grand plus VAT. For a brand new van, they were like 100 miles on them. And, you know, they were brand new. They were absolutely decked out the back, long wheelbase, high roof. I mean, you could walk, you could turn it, one person bought it for a camper van. They're going to convert it.
So that's the patter you got when you went to buy one, wasn't it? That was the bit you got there, yeah? 100 miles on, so it's all good.
Brand new, that. One careful driver, Vicar's wife.
Hello, he's got the trilby and the cigar.
Only 20k, you know, it's the old Steve Jobs.
The world is your
iPhone's
lobster.
only £1,000, everyone else is 200.
To be fair though, if I had when I bought my van, if I had my business hat on, I probably still would have gone for might have gone for the eDeliver 3, but then because it was my own company and I knew I was
Limited company.
and I was going to be driving it every day, I wanted a little bit extra refinement.
So if you bought the other van, you wouldn't have drove it every day, is that the idea? Is it like...
Well, the lad might have had it.
So there you go. If you work for Lee, you'll be getting Nick's cast-off van that's a little bit agricultural.
Lee's ordered himself a VW ID Buzz now, obviously, clearly.
That's just
right.
Still the cracker on the list so far.
Anyway, we like that one. So
here we go.
Yeah, right, so you brought this one in, Gary. So is this
this is my one.
Can you actually buy this
Well,
van?
let's not worry about that. This is the Canoe, okay? They do some, the drivetrain on it effectively is a skateboard, so it looks like the bottom of that is a skateboard, and you just drop on whatever you want on top of it, and they've got some lovely ones in the range, but I've got a Gary whiff that these aren't going to get out of that embryonic stage.
Don't worry,
to mass production.
I'm going to buy some shares in this company.
Yeah, which will bury them in a fortnight. But like the idea, like the concept, watched a YouTube video on it. I think the same day we had our conversation and we had to pick our favourite van at that time. I thought, well, I've just picked mine. It's not going to get out of that early stage.
It's supposedly, if it is made, it's going to do vehicle to load, vehicle to grid, which means that you could, effectively, if you were a business that had it stored overnight, you could make it pay money for you at night by charging off the grid, discharging back to the grid, etc.
See, I like the vans that go from home to customer and customer to home. That's the first thing I want. So all the other stuff, it's pretty irrelevant if I can't get there.
If you were Lee from Morzak, what you do is you go to a customer with an empty battery, fill this over your working day, and then go home and run your entire house off it.
All weekend.
It's good.
Now, they just bought the assets of a rival who was a very promising van company. Nick then bought shares in them, and sadly, they've since gone bust.
Yeah, it's a £6,000 mistake that we will delve into later on in the show when we do the reverse Warren Buffett. Okay, so anyone knows Warren Buffett? If he buys shares in something, it's only going one way, and that's up. And we've got the alternative to him.
Yeah. So is there any chance this is coming out soon?
No, it's not going to make it. Its share price is absolutely it's lovely. Yeah. I like the concept.
I'll buy the shares when they go up.
Oh,
that's the best time to buy.
So,
getting high.
Right, well, I found this when I was down at the London EV show last year, and I found that's the JLC. It's a different take on a van. Wider vans have to be as wide, you know, if you like.
So you fit all your stuff in?
Yeah, you can fit two very slim people in there, and trundle your duty frees out of the plane.
You could fit Comments Corner in there. Both of them would look very nice in that van, I think.
Yeah, we get in there.
Different. It's got. What's that thing they used to take around those Oriental countries? Those
tuk-tuk.
Yeah, the tuk-tuk. Yeah,
it's got a tuk-tuk feel about it.
Yeah, it has got a bit. Yeah. But if it's fit for purpose, if they're only racing around at airports and stuff like that, it's probably ideal.
Could be good in cities if you're trying to park.
Offsets the minor amount of fuel that's given off by the plane during its carbon footprint. So by having one or two of these dotted around, I know Gatwick probably gets it carbon zero, doesn't it?
Lee, what's the lad who works for you called again?
Oliver.
Oliver, is that Oliver's new van? Because it looks because you were looking at it with that face. That looks like a cheap van.
He's a lot taller than me, and I'm wondering whether he'll fit.
5'2". Strapping lad, 5'2" he is. Big boy, bouncing around in the van. Yeah, it's got a bit of a Postman Pat feel to it, that one had, though, didn't it?
Well, speaking of that, Gary,
Yes,
I think they
that's
got
it.
the inspiration from, actually. I think if you look, there we go. That was the, that's that version. That's the previous one. Look at that.
The ones where my kids watched it, he puffed around in that thing, did he? Did
That
he?
was a while ago, that, Gary.
Has he
Let's
got an
look
electric, has he?
This was 10 years ago. They brought out the electric Postman Pat van.
Did
I think.
they?
Yeah,
Is that when
saw
his
the
helicopter
future.
came? Because that looked like
No, I
that
didn't
used
see
to-
that one.
Yeah, he's got a helicopter now.
Right.
Yeah, and a train.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Well,
all
now
look
he
like
doesn't
they
turn
were
up on
fossil.
Saturdays anymore. Coming
No,
forward,
he isn't,
so,
and not
yeah.
every day of the week, and
Yeah.
he won't tell you which days he's not coming in,
Yeah.
which is another improvement, I would say. To
So there you go. A little bit like our postman. Sorry, Jed. Actually, no, he's very good. Our postman, actually. But,
Is he?
Yeah, he's good.
He brought Steve's letter for him, didn't he?
He certainly doesn't collect your post, does he?
So yeah. So we got a big choice. So we say there's some great choices in there, but you own one.
Yep.
So let's look at what that means to an electrician, because it's a different mindset. You obviously coming today was a stretch, but you recorded yourself coming up, didn't you?
Yes, I did, yeah.
Shall we take a look at what it's like to leave your house and come to Lineside Studios?
So I'm sweating like a pig out here in the sunshine at the moment, and that's because I'm doing the hardest job an electrician can do, and that's trying to clean out my van. The reason is that I'm driving up to Yorkshire tomorrow to do the eFIXX Live. I'm on there with EV Nick and Martyn Lee, and we're going to be talking about electric vans. So I don't know if eFIXX are going to film this, but if they are going to film the van, I want it to be clean. So I'm cleaning out the inside, and then I'm just going to give it a wash. It'll be spick and span for tomorrow. So it's the morning of eFIXX Live. Wednesday morning, about 9 o'clock. I'm just about to set off to Yorkshire to eFIXX, the studios. Just unplugged the van, fully charged. The charge overnight on our Octopus Intelligent tariff. So yeah, got a full charge at a nice cheap rate. And I think it's a nice day. It's not too warm, not too cold, so we'll start out in eco mode and the regenerative braking on, because I always drive like that, try and drive it in as much of a one pedal mode as I can. Yeah, so I need to make a stop at some point just to grab a drink. I've had a load of coffee this morning, so I'll probably need a wee as well. We'll see how far I get before I need to make a stop and then make a decision on the charging from there. Right, so just a quick situation report. Got 75 miles left on the range, only about 30 odd miles to go. I'm desperate for a wee, so I'm going to find somewhere to pull over, but I had a conversation with Nick this morning, and my understanding is that he is going to be there after me. Hopefully I can jump on the charger before he does. I think I'm going to be there before Martyn Lee as well, so yeah, I can get on the eFIXX charger, which would be great. So I don't think I'm going to do a charge stop, because I'm going to get there with about 30 or 40 miles of range left, and obviously even if they beat me to it, I'm staying in a hotel just down the road, so they might even have a charging facility at the hotel. I haven't really checked. I'm not very good at this. I guess that shows how easy it is, because I don't worry too much. Okay, so we're off the motorways now, and I've found a garage to pull over. There is some chargers nearby, but I'm not going to bother charging. There's no need. I'll grab a Starbucks and a quick drink, maybe a quick snack, and then be on my way. So a quick comment I would make, you know, when you're in Yorkshire. Yeah, look at that. Beautiful. We're only a few minutes from the eFIXX studios now. So I've just got here at eFIXX. They're just moving the van. Nick's not here, so I'm going to stick it on charge. I've still got 25% left, which is great.
Okay, so yeah, playing it on the laptop. We nearly got caught out there, you know, panic in the background. So we'll go over to Comments Corner and see what the early thinking is before we delve into what it's like to own one of these with you, Lee. So let's see what's happening in Comments Corner. Nick, we've got two Nicks, and I've only just realised that. So Mr. Tucker, we're over to you. So what's happening on Comments Corner?
Yeah, some good questions on V2L, V2G. I think that's going to be a big player for commercial vans. If there's a way to leverage, like Nick said, we can leverage payback for farming electricity in the nights and so forth. I do think there's bit of grounds in that.
So effectively, your van could be part of the grid resilience, couldn't it, then, when we're having a bit of a struggle, if you've got a fully charged van and you allow that process to happen. And again, these things are developing by the second, aren't they? So example being, you've developed a new product that allows the pay meter to be installed within your tower, because now we know those on-road chargers have got to be able to give you one-tap payment. Is that right, Nick?
Yeah, that's it. So we've got a new payment pillar available, which will take any of the NIACs, Paters, CPIs of the world. So it's a retrofit onto our existing offering, and equally we'll do a payment pillar, shall we say.
So market's moving really quickly, and however slow occasionally us electricians are at grasping a new opportunity, you dove in fully because your own feet or your carbon footprint was massive.
Yes.
Okay. That was due to the fact that you were living in China at the time, was it?
Yeah, travelling about 50 flights a year, something like that, short haul, long haul.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the primary reason you said off camera, and you said don't mention it on camera, why you went to China was because you're a big strapping lad walking around the town and cities.
That's right, yeah.
You were just giving it large when you look at it, you're like, what a man mountain. Yeah, that guy's huge.
As I mentioned, they used to pat my belly and say, "You're so strong, Mr.
So strong.
Yeah.
I've lost all my strength recently. Yeah, that's what I have to say. Gordon looks like he can do with some strength being added to him. You've jumped in. You've gone, obviously, you want to be green.
Yes.
You can't really turn up in a diesel, was your mindset.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, that's right.
I don't know whether that would be a winner or a loser for a customer, down to individuals, but yours was in you go. So talk me through that van journey and how you ended up where you are today.
Yeah, so I did start out with a diesel van. I didn't think what was on the market was going to work for me at the time. Sort of built up some cash in the business first, built up a reputation for the business. So I bought my van.
Did you pay the wife and everyone else? You did that offsetting thing where you're a limited company, so you had these shareholders that were just tax havens, were they?
It was before the limited company when I had the diesel van, so it was with the savings that I got to start the business. Just bought a cheap runabout, and that was great for a bit. But I always had the mindset that I've got to get an electric van when I could. And then things change in the market as well. Things were moving on all the time. So it's very easy to go, I'll wait a bit longer. But at some point, I had to bite the bullet. And that's when I bought the Peugeot van.
Which is the one you drove up to in today?
That's right, yeah.
Did the journey from Birmingham no sweat?
Oh, no problem at all.
And you weren't worried when you left?
Not Birmingham. I'm not a Brummie.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
There's a big rivalry, the Birmingham and the Black Country.
I'll absolutely. So, no, not to upset you. I've taken it. So, Lee from Birmingham. So, you've got here, no problem. You weren't sweating in the van, okay? You strolled in nice and calmly and instantly asked where the EV charger was, didn't you? You didn't hang about, did you? You wanted to make sure you were topping it up before you left.
That was because it was free electric.
You got a whiff of free electric.
Yeah.
When they all turned up, they were devastated. There was only one. He went to get the granny lead out. It was that desperate to get something out.
Well, I'm not being funny, but I mean, you used to have a dual post outside. You changed it for a single post. It's a very nice post, but I mean, we all thought we'd come up and plug in because Gordon's paid.
Yeah. Sorry. Oh, right. I didn't realise that, Gordon.
Well, you see,
I must have to take a keener interest in this business.
I mean, Gordon knows what car he's driving because it says unleaded down the side of it in clear letters in case he forgets.
Yeah.
So we jumped in. We got EV. Now, have you changed your working practice? Were you a local electrician? Were you all over the country? What was the mindset? Obviously, if you're keeping your carbon footprint, you want to do your street and the one by the side of it, maybe, and that'd be it, wouldn't it?
So I've always had the mindset, really, anyway, that if I want to be the best at what we do locally, selling the business a little bit here, but there's no point in travelling all over the country and spending all your time in a van because, time is money. So, the idea, I don't want to be travelling miles and miles anyway, so the van itself, it gives me a sort of 60, 70 mile working radius, which is fine. I can advertise as well. I can focus our marketing on that area. So that there's more than one benefit to sort of focusing on a small geographical area.
And you can come home every night. You don't have to stay away in the week and
That's
then
right,
just travel home at the weekend and not see your wife for about 4 or 5 days. I mean, who would want a life doing that?
I mentioned once you were short. That's all I did. Once. I go in there about living away and working away. Yeah. I'm chuffed to bits for myself. I'm listening. Yeah. Joking aside, okay, so that's all in. What's the downside? Let's be brutally honest. There must be a downside.
So Rapid charging, it can be a pain.
Why? What's the pain about rapid charging?
So
Cost?
Well, I've plugged in and walked away, not checked it started charging. I'm a bit
So you're the pain.
I'm laid back. My attitude towards it is I'm quite laid back. I can leave it till the sort of the red line. I've got used to sort of making sure the chargers are working before I walk away, make sure it's actually charging at a rapid speed. Queuing, I've never really had much of an issue with queuing, but what bothers me with the rapid charging is the cost at the moment. Compared with charging at home, not necessarily compared. I think now it's ballpark to, it's still cheaper than a diesel vehicle,
right,
but not much.
Depends which network you go to. Some of the networks are horrendous. Like one of them is £1 a kilowatt hour. But you can, Tesla have just yesterday opened up even more of the superchargers in the UK. There's opened up a ton, and they are 45p for non-Tesla members. But if you're going to be rapid charging a lot, you can pay Tesla £10 a month and pay the same price that a Tesla owner pays for the charger, which is, I think, 35p a kilowatt hour. Lee will know, because Lee said he didn't used to have an electric van before he used to drive his diesel van, but when he repaired my Zappy charger, he turned up in a Tesla, so he's obviously been doing quite well for himself for quite a while.
Double EV. And is your Tesla broken at the moment?
That wasn't my car, that's my wife's car.
Oh, is that for the tax purposes? Yeah. So you had to clearly say you don't drive that at all. I don't know. It's our own expenses. I only ever drive the van. Yeah.
But when I'm charging, when I'm rapid charging, it tends to be, it's on the odd occasion, so I've never really put any effort into looking at what networks are cheapest and getting the cards and the apps and everything. So it's just a matter of, I'll just stick it on this Ionity charger at Morrison's and it'll work.
And in the second part of the show, we're going to talk through the cost of the equivalent diesel one and petrol one, and whether you're winning or not. And if you did win, which we don't know until we get to that section, how long did it take for you to win? You all right with that, Gordon? Yeah. So I think it's time to maybe have a little trip down Rick's tool time.
Rick's tool time. See what Rick's been up to. He's here. Where is he?
It's give us a wave. Rick, come to the...
Oh, no, he's there.
He is. Look at him. His teeth ain't as good as they used to be, are they?
He looks a little bit like the builder from next door.
He does. Morphed into him, eh? What's that he's got? Is that fried chicken? It looks like a little bit of fried chicken. It could be squid.
And he's in a van. Has he been cooking it in the van? The air fryer in the van, doing a bit of vehicle to grid?
Let's just do hand cam and maybe he'll stand up and give us a wave. He's not gone to college today. He's thrown a sickie, just for the record. He is not ill, so if he's ringing because he's sick, yeah, he's sick of going to college. That's what he is. He's nearly finished, folks. He's very close, and we look forward to updating you when Rick completes his level 3 and what's his next stage of his journey, so we can follow him through maybe as he tries to get qualified at the moment. So Rick's tool time. Let's see what he's got on this week's episode and see what tool he's unearthed.
As electricians, we are the world's problem solvers, providing the magic of electricity to the far-flung corners of the home. Our job would be easy if it wasn't for other trades putting things in our way. This week, it's time to explore a problem caused by those wood butcherers. A few weeks ago, we had a mission to install some LED strip into a bar at our local curry house, Mastabs in Skipton. This would have been an easy job had the carpenter left a slot for an LED profile. They didn't. So what should have been an easy install turned into an epic. The biggest challenge is how to get the LED wires between each of the 14 separate LED strips. A tight spot, you could call it. How do we drill between the upright sections of the shelf? Luckily, we have found salvation at Toolstation in the form of the Quick Chuck flexible extension. This 300mm long flexible shaft attaches straight into your drill chuck. On the end is a 1/4 inch shank, which is just over 6mm in diameter. This allows the drill chuck to get into some really tight spaces. You can use this with screwdriver bits, or in our case, we found some drill bits with a 1/4 inch shank. The bits lock securely in place, so no danger of losing them down a cavity. We put this to the test on our LED strip installation, drilling an 8mm hole between the uprights. This allowed us to run the LED strip cables between each section, hidden behind the extrusion and sealed off with a bead of silicone, creating a brilliant light effect without any signs of unsightly cables. As the extension holds a 1/4 inch hex, you're sorted when access is limited. I recently found myself needing to put a screw in a a PVC end box on the side of a shed. Not only was I struggling to physically get myself in there, but a metal fence adjacent to the shed happened to be perfectly in the way. A normal screwdriver wouldn't fit in the gap, and the stubby ratchet I had was hindered by my reach and the metal fence. Fortunately, a friend had a similar flexible bit extension, which saved the day. I celebrated by high-fiving my head torch with it. Careful, Rick. Perhaps not a tool you use every day, but it's certainly proven its worth on these jobs. It's very reasonably priced, and I'll leave a link in the description below. Let me know what you think. Quick interjection. As you saw earlier, the drill bits work perfectly. As soon as Gaz asked me to use the spade bit, look what ends up happening. So let me know what you think. Is it great or is it a gimmick? Get your votes in, but till then, I'll see you on the flip side. Dada.
I'd like everyone to think the rule at eFIXX is if you get blamed for something, you're not the one to blame for it, okay? So that is the rule round here, folks. So if at any point, yes, it wasn't me. So that means we've got the great, exciting job, and I'm so pleased that you're in the premier seat there. Now, unlike some of the guests we've had on this evening, if you were in that seat or you was in that seat, you could stand there at strapping 5'2" and not reach up to the tool from above, and we could coo it down together. But unfortunately, because we're normal sized people, we're going to have to drop to our knees, and you're going to need to make sure you summon your inner tool. Now, I'm sure there's somebody that you can think of that really brings the word tool into your mind.
Why are you looking at me,
every single time you use the word tool? Now, we know our tool is above us,
yes,
and we're going to need to coo it down. And Lee, you're going to do your bit there. And nice to see you've warmed up as well, sir. So it's all good. So we're going to come down here on our all knees. So we're going to come. If you come this side, so you get the camera side down. You come with your blue.
Can you help me? Can you help me a little bit?
I'm going to help you.
Can we embrace?
That's part of the process. We can touch. The managing director at Lewden Palazzoni said to me, he said, "How many managing directors you had on your knees doing this with me?" And since the managing director over there of a limited company and doing it with me, you're a limited company.
No, I am, yeah.
Oh, right, okay. They're all on the fiddle, aren't they? So is the wife a shareholder?
My wife and I are directors, yeah.
Does she do much of the podcast?
She helps with the business admin side of things. Let's just do the tool, yeah? Can we not talk about...
Got a whiff for something, folks. Here we go, folks. So let's practice. So we're going to inner tool. So we're going to have a nice long tool. So can you do me a long tool?
I can do you a long tool.
Okay, here we go. Long tool. Tool. I like the layering. Right? I like the layering. I think with layering like that, it's coming down. It's coming down. Okay. So nice layer and tool.
Oh, it's working. It's working.
Now summon your inner tool. So think of that inner tool. Yep. Okay, summon it and right down deep inside yourself. Like try and pull up your inner tool.
You mind if I get guttural with this? Is that all right?
Absolutely. The deeper you are with the tool, the better it is. So
okay, inner slip knot. Here we go.
We go. Big one. This is coming down. Ready, steady. Oh, bit of after recall on the tool as well. Not the way sort of given and gave again. It's good.
It's a bit of Brian Blessed there, I think.
I think I've pulled something.
Yes. Thank you very much. Right. So just to explain to those people that maybe the first time they've ever done the show, if it is, thank you very much for joining us for the first time. If you have, leave it in the comments and we'll get one of our nicks to have a look at those. If it's not, you know how it works. Of course, the coffee machine is placed in the incorrect place, which is up on the top left-hand corner when it should be in the bottom right. We've all played it really safe, haven't we? Because the middle area is that I don't want to upset anyone. Now, you should be commenting whether you think this is gimmick or great, because Rick instructed you to do so. But it's going to be ultimately down to Martyn to decide where this bit of kit goes. Now, personally, apart from when Rick broke it, I think for a £10 note, it's going to get you out of trouble more than the £10 note. Okay, I think you're on clever ground to have that in your toolbox. Now, if you're like Lee, you probably wouldn't have it in your toolbox, because it is that tool that gets you out of the jam once, and as you only carry exactly what you need for each day, because you're worried about your range. So here we go then. So it's up to you, Mr. Lee. Okay, Martyn. Any way you like on the board. 11's the top right-hand corner, which means it's as good as maybe, I don't know, an iPhone or something like that.
Let's have a look at the comments. Okay, great bit of kit. Yeah, okay, it's getting some love in the comments, but the problem I have is that in the video, it broke.
Yeah, because Rick used it incorrectly.
Well, did he though?
Yes. Just because you can get it on the end, it doesn't mean it's going to be any good when it's on there.
It just seems a little bit...
It's It's only a tenner.
I don't know. Now, I think I've used a tool by the company who make this, so I mean no disparagement. I think I've used a brake caliper reversal tool when I changed the brake pads on my car. I might have lied about it not being practical at the beginning. I think,
You know what? We sort of got a. Your first consumer unit was like record-breaking pads on it. What's going on?
So I think when I've done brake pads, the caliper removal tool, reversal tool rather, is made by the same company. So I mean no disparagement to a fine manufacturer, but I'm not taken with this particular tool. And also, it's got a bit wobbly in my hand, so for that reason, put it down the bottom.
Oh, there we go.
No.
It's just.
I'm not having it.
Are we going lower?
Lower, that's it. No.
That's
the right place for it.
The deck. Absolutely
right
perfect.
place.
So
There you
I'll just
go.
put it right at the bottom so we know where it is for next time.
Sorry about that.
Can we just comment about his tool? I mean the way. I mean, he's a professional broadcaster, you know. Could you tell?
I didn't actually. Is he?
Could you tell?
Well, no.
He used to work for one of those big vodka brands, if you can work that out.
No.
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 Did you work out from the vodka brands?
Vodka brand.
Martin's like, don't mention where I used to work. Big vodka.
My ex-employer is already, something's twitching. They can feel something twitching. That's best not to mention that, please.
So we So going from tools to twitching things, we're moving quickly on there. Thank you ever so much, Rick, for doing the tool time once again for us. Fantastic. And he's in the house tonight. We're hoping to get him back real soon once his college course has finished. So that's the tool. We're into part 2 now, Gordon. You got any comments?
Yeah, there's plenty got so lots of people.
Shall we go to the person doing the comments, or do you want to do them on his behalf?
I'll just pick a few just to get some questions in, just so because there's some people. Darren Cranis is in there. Saying,
he's done a show tonight
I can
himself.
imagine Gary can get into some really tight spaces these days.
Yes, thank you very much, Darren. Thank you. Sort of slip in, slip out. Just.
A lot of people, vehicle to grid, definitely, as Nick said earlier, is popular on there. And someone, obviously, different parts of the world have different problems, don't they? So there's someone in from Australia where they tend to have cheaper energy prices during the day because it's obviously nice and warm and sunny. And I think that's a problem in California as well, isn't it? Where you tend to get cheap tariffs in the middle of the day.
Those places tend to be outliers in terms of what the graph looks like through the day. It is typically people come home at the end of the day and switch on, you get that peak, and that's why tariffs that reflect the half-hourly price that you can get as a consumer in the retail market often go up at that time. But those sunny places, it's incredibly cheap to put solar in places like California and Australia, and so it makes perfect sense. If you drive an EV, you can just charge for free because they've got all the sun. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean the great thing about EVs is, I mean, a lot of people say, oh, if you're charging off the grid, it's not green. Well, the grid is green and it's getting greener all the time. All the time, it's getting more solar, more renewables added to it. But the most important thing to look at is most EVs will be charging overnight when it's really green, really particularly green, because obviously it tends to demand drips, and then you've obviously got quite a lot of wind. But I mean, there's tariffs like Octopus Energy's intelligent one. It's 7.5. Well, no, but
I'll get 50. Give him 50 quid. He's that desperate for 50 notes.
But it's 7.5p to charge overnight with them, and they're paying 15p for your export. So it actually makes more sense not to charge off your own solar and let it export back to the grid, because you're getting paid more money just to charge overnight. So if you then got vehicle to grid combined with that, you can charge at 7.5p and export to the grid during the middle of the day for 15p, so you can make a profit on it. It's just insane.
I'm not quite yet, even though I'm not limited company, personal owner, wife being off tax haven for me. Is 7.5p an hour going to turn any wheels in your house?
Oh yeah, everything goes on.
7.5 pence? Yeah. You can't even buy a sweet for that anymore in a shop, can you?
Oh, yes, 7.5 pence per kilowatt.
It's just okay. Yeah,
Well, let's have a look. Lee's car. Let's bring the president. We've got Lee's van here and just see what it looks like from the back end. He's trying to get a bit of eFIXX brand on the back there. You might have noticed, but yeah. So there we go.
It's nice. Yeah.
How long have you? Oh, so it's no, it's not a 13
It's actually a
plate,
red
isn't
van.
it?
You had it wrapped white before he added the green to it. Yeah,
what you do.
That's what before anyone else.
QR code on the roof.
Yeah.
So I was going for the grey originally, and then I realised how expensive it was as an optional extra, so I went for the white instead, and then wrapped it, which was
I think it's nice. I think that it gives you it's a clear, crisp van, isn't it?
Yes.
Feels very very new, renewable type van. So lovely looking van. Right. Okay. So you had a choice. You walk into the showroom. You're obviously you're trying to offset a bit of tax, so you're buying a new one. Yeah. You've walked in there. You've got a choice. It's obviously going to be diesel or electric.
Yep.
There must be a massive disparity in price. One must be considerably dearer than the other. We hear these EV cars and EV vans are huge money. You're going for the van. How much the difference was?
So at the time, the difference was about £3,000. Now the grant structure's changed, and obviously van prices have changed, but it was about £3,000 difference at the time.
So dearer, just to clarify.
Sorry, yeah. So the electric van was £3,000 dearer, and that was for the sound specification. I can't remember which. It probably would have been the base model, the base engine as well, so nothing special on the diesel engine as a comparison.
And did you have the base electric, or was there only one choice?
No, there's two choices, a 50 kilowatt hour and a 75. I went for the 75, which is the longer range version.
Okay, so...
And that was still 3,000 difference, was it? Or was
Yes,
that?
yeah.
And you got your head-up display?
Yeah, head-up display, and that was going to be on both. I've got
outdoor socket?
Apple, not an outdoor socket.
Should have had that as an extra. EG one, lift or flip.
So there were things like I've got the Apple AirPlay. I didn't go for three-phase charging was an option, so you could get 11 kilowatt if you plug into a three-phase socket. I didn't go for that.
Which is why I've only just managed to plug my car in, because Lee's van was charging very slowly.
So just to clear up in my own mind, the third person today to be stealing stuff from us. So it's like, well, come along.
Well, we are in Yorkshire. If you are in Yorkshire, you know what you have to add.
My eyes are only just stopped being red from being so sorry for it.
You'll get your last. So with three grand in the hole, okay, we understand the range works for you, else you wouldn't have done it. Yep. We'll come back to you in a minute about whether an EV or a diesel van works. From Martyn's got a great piece on that. I'm now thinking, people keep telling me it's cheaper to charge, and cheaper to charge my car up with electricity than it is to fill it with dinosaurs.
Yep.
Is that true?
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
So you look like the sort of person that might track when they get to a point where they're positive in cash.
Yes. Yeah.
Really, you did?
Yes, I did.
How long did it take you? You don't have to be absolutely to the minute and the day, but how long did it take you to get your 3 grand back to start winning?
So I know Gordon's got my spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet, yeah.
Spreadsheet, have you?
That's the summary sheet. This is there's about 20 tabs behind this with various things, the weight in the van that day, what tools were on.
I hadn't had a haircut for 3 weeks.
Now,
right.
This is what I would say is conservative, because there's a lot of estimations. The average miles per kilowatt hour, for example, I've gone conservative on that. I do normally get better than that. You notice for people who drive an electric car, the van is not as aerodynamic. I do a fair bit of motorway driving, and you're looking at 2.65, and I carry, you've seen my bot racking in the back as well. That's about 180 kilo of racking and equipment. So
is that the rack and with the equipment in it? It's not just the...
I think that's just the racking on its own. That was the package weight when I had it delivered to me.
Well,
so yeah,
got that down. That'll be on page 7 of the spreadsheet. That'll be the individual itemised items on there.
He's weighed the length of plastic conduit for weight, just to see whether he needs 3 or can he risk the 4th link in there. Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's not a bad average miles per kilowatt, seeing you've got a roof rack on there. If you didn't have a roof rack, that would improve quite substantially.
Do a lot of slipstreaming on the motorway. You wouldn't have people who stick behind lorries, are you? I'll get this. I'll rinse the range out of this.
I found a Dutch lorry doing 65 mile an hour today. That was beautiful. It came all the way back.
Wow, and I didn't know that as well. I mean, an open book, very easy to read as well, mostly pictures, isn't it? It's like,
I mean, I'm not being funny, but if you saw how slow he was on the race wall, you should know how slow he's going to drive.
Methodical. We're going for methodical, aren't we? We've got an M next to that.
What's the legal speed limit of that van on the motorway? Is it 60? Do you have to...
That's what I said, didn't I? 60. I was doing 59 mile an hour all the way down the
behind a Dutch lorry
which
carrying...
Which is doing 65 that never left.
Tulips, yeah.
But in all seriousness, the speed that you're going does make a big difference. And there's, I'm being passed by vans doing 70, 80-ish mile an hour.
I'll be a sprinter.
And that will kill your range because of the lack of aerodynamics on the car. So, on the van. So,
You haven't taped up all the vents and that, have you? To get another couple of miles out of it. Okay, so that's spreadsheet number 1.
So just to answer your question on the payback, working that out, I paid it. It was the difference paid back after about 2.5 years, something like that.
So 2.5 years, I got me $3,000
Sorry,
back.
2 years. Sorry.
2 years.
Yes,
I thought it was too early. Yeah, you said you're winning now. Yeah. So 2 years, I get me money back. I'm $3,000 back on what I would have put in fuel.
Yeah.
So that's got the price match.
Yes.
And now you're allegedly winning.
Yes. Yeah,
And with electricity prices falling, and it looks to me at the minute that diesel hasn't. It looks like it's crept up. We've just had a slight energy price reduction after the cap, haven't we?
Yeah, and I don't see diesel doing anything. Diesel's not going to go back to £1 a litre, is it? I can't see that ever happening. So.
Breaking news on eFIXX. For those devastated van drivers of diesel vehicles like myself, I've just been crushingly told it's never going back to £1.
And I'm adding more solar panels to my own array as well, so I'll be able to generate my own electricity for the car and the van.
Is that offset against the business?
No.
He's not for
I mean, the wife purchased it, didn't she, as part of the business? Did you install it? Did you?
I should have phoned the accountant.
Yeah, sounds like you got a hotline to him. Have we got a pie chart to show me all this information? You just say, oh, what are the stats? Look at this coloured pie chart. Wow.
So this is the mileage breakdown by charging type. So yeah, you can see.
Is this the first time you've left your own house for an extended period of time? Do you not get out very often? Okay, so purple one then, tell me what that is. Is that the total mileage? I can't see
so the
right
purple and the blue is 2 different night rates. So I used to be on 5 pence a kilowatt hour. That's gone up. That went up to 7.5 pence.
But there was tears in your house that night, weren't there?
So you can see the majority of my charging and the mileage on my van is powered by charging at home.
Okay, good.
Charging overnight on Octopus Intelligent. I've got an Octopus code as well.
Oh
so
my
you can
God,
check out my YouTube channel for the link.
You've got a YouTube channel as well?
Right.
Since when did you keep that secret?
Split the 50 quid, you can both stop talking about it.
There's 100, give them both, shut up. But where's the sun come into this then? Where's sunshine? Because you've got this massive array on your farm.
Yeah, I've got about 1,200 miles, which is free charging. So that's the free charge is split up out of a few things. So charging at the odd pub or supermarket that has free electricity.
Yeah.
My solar, and as Nick has already pointed out earlier, maybe the odd generous customer might lend me some electric.
Oh, you take it back? Did you do that?
I like to think I give them the ability to charge their car.
So
Well, yours first of all, though.
if anyone ever hires Lee as an electrician, I recommend you read the small print, because it says in the small print, may take as much electricity as required.
So how would you do that when you're fitting an EV charger? Or were you hoping
I've used
Use the granny lead.
Yeah, I've used the granny lead before. No, if I know I'm getting there and back, I don't take the mickey.
From the laughter straight after it, he obviously does. I've hardly got any range in it at all. Even if I only get a couple of miles out, I'm having something out here. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
If Lee is doing a job for you and he's fitting solar and an EV charger, he always fits the EV charger first, though.
And then tests it.
But it's a good point there, though, isn't it? As you know, electricians start that journey and that to just we're joking about that in the terms and conditions, but it's worth having it in there. Can you imagine that customer saying, no, you're not, and actually getting away from their property and continuing on your life could be aided by the fact that, yes, you did borrow, I nearly said steal, I didn't say steal, I just want to say for the record, you stole their electricity while you were there doing their work.
I mean, you know, we need power to do our job, to charge our batteries for our...
Yeah, but not at 3 kilowatts an hour.
7, Gary.
No, he's plugging, no, I mean, if it's
on the granny cable.
Granny cable, yeah.
Depends how many batteries you've got.
Wow. Okay. It's a different world, this, isn't it? Okay, so you've mapped that all out. It's great to have that data. And this is the sort of data that people need to get out of this video, because, you know, you see the initial price, you're thinking, oh, it's diesel, you know, but because you're creating your own electricity at home, you're almost in control of your own energy prices as well to a certain degree, because you must know what you're going to get as energy over a year as well.
Yeah.
And that obviously factors into it, the equation as well. Whereas I know people don't often think of this. When you have a solar array and battery, did you know I'd got one?
I didn't.
No, I can show you mine now. So you've actually, on the day you purchase your solar array and batteries, you've locked the energy price in at that moment in time if you know what 12 months are going to give you.
That's right.
And you start taking it off. So I think they're clever maths.
Yeah, and the other thing, it's quite liberating just being able to charge at home, not go to a petrol station. There's a certain amount, and all EV drivers know this, you guys know this, it's once you don't have to go to the petrol station and hand somebody, you know, the supply chain for petrol is so big and there's so many people taking cuts of money out of it, and it's nice not having to do that handing over of the money.
What do you do for against us? Or something like that?
That Starbucks he had earlier on looked like it was remarkably close to a filling station, you saw, didn't it? But you've got a different argument. So let's have the reverse argument. So you said to me earlier on, you're not an evangelist when it comes to this, you're an enthusiast.
Yeah.
I'm not working as local as perhaps, take me as an example, 175 miles both ways. If I don't drive the vehicle when I get up here, I do a lot of miles travelling all over the country to get to colleges and other establishments. Do you recommend that I go fully EV? Because we are eFIXX Red, we're eFIXX Green, we are the energy channel as well, but we are not currently with our van practicing what we preach. Tell me what I should be doing.
There's no reason why you can't if there is a will to. So you've got charging at home, you've got charging where you work. So that's called destination charging. And you've got destination charging where you are, then you have chargers here, and you have chargers at home, you've got solar at home as well. So that covers that off. And rapid charging, there's more of that than ever before. And prices, as Nick says, varies, but it still works out cheaper than diesel. It is more inconvenient to stop for half an hour if you have the mindset of this should be a 10-minute stop. And by the way, they've done all the research into how long it takes to pull into a petrol station, get out and pump the petrol, go in, queue, maybe do the thing at the... And people think, I stopped for 2-3 minutes. The average stop is like 9 or 10 minutes. So stopping for 20 minutes on a rapid charge on a van is not that much longer. And I did the same coming up today. My car will do 220 miles. So after 200, pulled into, on the M6 somewhere, charged for 20 minutes, got myself a little coffee, a little pasty, and carried on the way. And that was my break in the journey. Whereas if I was driving a diesel car, which we still own, a diesel Golf, just because my wife wants that comfort blanket of having a diesel on the driveway. So she drives an MG ZS EV, which is a Chinese. They bought the MG.
2 adults, 3 cars I'm hearing at the minute.
Yeah,
carry on. Yeah.
And then I drive the Polestar, which Nick very kindly sold me, and it's not a dud. So far so good. And the diesel Golf, which she just wants to keep around. I don't know, like a pet dog or something, because she just feels comfortable having that diesel on the driveway. So I'm totally into EVs, but I'm never going to tell anyone you must drive an EV. And I think that's what's interesting about this conversation. Looking forward to reading the live chat for everyone that's tuning in live and watching it after the event as well. Put a comment in, let me know your questions, and we can reply to that after the event as well. Looking to hear from questions that might go into to Nick over there as well. That I think there is a section of maybe even the media, right? There's that stir up this tribalism where people who love their diesel van feel like it's almost going to be torn away from them one day, and it absolutely won't. So Norway is 2025. Next year they'll be all EV. We were going to be 2030. It got pushed back 2035 to match Europe and the EU. But even then, there's some underlying legislation that didn't get changed. So not to be too political, but I think that announcement that our Prime Minister made of, well, I'm fighting for hard-working drivers, there's some law that sat underneath that which didn't get changed. So they can call it 2030, 2070. They didn't actually change anything apart from try and win a few votes that day, in my opinion. So it didn't change anything, that announcement. The rest of the EU is 2035, along with most of China will be 50% new cars next year. And so all around the world it's happening at a different pace. So I'm never going to tell anyone you have to buy an EV, because if you want to go buy a pure diesel van on the last day of 2034, in 10 years' time, the average vehicle in this country is 12 years. I mean, that's for a car. It might be different for a working vehicle, commercial vehicle, right? So that means that in 2040, whatever, 2046, 2050, you're still driving your diesel van. So let's get that out of the way so far. No one's taking your diesel vans away from you. So let's stop fighting about this. If you're like, hey, I don't want an EV, we can still be friends. There's a lot of people that want to say, oh, I hate EVs because they don't go very far. Like, that's fine, you do you. I'm not going to try and change your mind.
The crazy part of the conversation is going to be, though, in 2040, there's going to be more and more EVs on the road, and obviously you won't be able to buy a diesel or petrol car. So we're going to see the reverse of what's happened with EV chargers. EV chargers have increased, and you're going to see petrol stations decrease rapidly because there's going to be less and less fuel-powered cars on the road. So petrol stations, I mean, you look how many petrol stations are now, there's loads. There's loads. There's too many petrol stations for what's needed. You got, well, you know, one of the roads not far from where, you know, when I came down here, there was a petrol station on both sides of the road, but run by different petrol station companies. That's not going to happen. That's going to go. And you've already seen, you know, banks and banks of EV chargers going in at petrol stations. In fact, the petrol station right next, petrol station's being built next to where my house is, and it's got 6 pumps, but they're putting 12 EV chargers in at the same time, and they bought Tesla's V4 chargers, so they look like Tesla chargers, but they're not Tesla chargers.
But the dwell time is longer on an EV charger, so it's going to be 20 minutes or more.
Yeah, it's going to. We're getting to speeds like the new Porsche Taycan. It can charge in 15 minutes. It adds like 200.
By the time it's fully charged, it's lost 30% of its value. Is that how it works? And no, of course.
I mean, if an EV van doesn't work for you, I mean, I've got a guy came up yesterday. He's an EV mobile mechanic. So all he does is he's a mechanic, services cars, repairs cars, and he works out of an MG5, which is an estate car, and he's got all his tools in there. Now, he said that's not the best rack system. He's got a team of like 14, 15 mechanics. That's really badly racked out because on the right, on the right hand side of that is where he puts his bike, because he wanted to put his bike in it so he could ride his bike. But that, you know, if you want something, you know, a bit more practical, that's, you know, that you can buy relatively cheap. Those MG5s are cheap. I mean, really cheap.
Second-hand price, Nick?
Cheap, really cheap. Like
wouldn't let that one out of bag, would he? It could be changing tomorrow.
Yeah. I might have one in, so I might need to change that. So yeah.
Do your deal. Make sure you do your
One
deal.
careful owner, Vicar's wife.
Well, I mean, he's done 145,000 miles in that. You know, and you look at the plate on it. It's only 2 years old. So if he can do 140 miles in a 2-year-old, you know, car on the road all the time, they can do rapid charging. They can do thingy. And he's billing in his time that he's stopping at chargers into his cost of what he's charging for.
I would say on the petrol station thing, most charging, from experience, most of your charging is at home, and Lee's just showed us on the graph.
That's a really good point. That what you've both been talking about as well is when you stop at a rapid charger, you're not bothered about how fast it charges from 10% to 80%, because all you want to do is look at what your rest of your journey is and how short you are on your range. Add a little bit of buffer in. So a lot of the time, I'm only rapid charging, adding 20 or 30 mile, which is minutes. Sometimes you're plugging it in and you haven't got time to walk away and go to the loo. You finish your charge and move your van before you go to the loo stop, because...
Nah, you're kicking that door open, mate, and you're doing it down by the side of the door, well, aren't you? Making sure don't get any splash in there. That's not Lucasade in the side of the door.
But I mean, if you're a Spark, the chances are that, you know, you're quite well off. It's a lucrative job, you know. It's a busy job. Look at Lee, look how well he's doing in EV. But so you're likely going to have a driveway. You're going to have your own charger at home, like Gordon just said. Most of your charging is going to be done at home. Some Sparks will get away with 100% charging at home. They'll never charge on a rapid charger, ever.
Or your customer's house.
Yeah. So, and that's a good thing about you turning up to do. So our electrician has an old Nissan ENV 200, and it is purely used for going out. He fits renewables. He's a general electrician, of course. He rewired our house, but he also did all the renewable stuff for us as well. And he just has that van to turn up in, because he doesn't want to turn up in a diesel van, because it's not what he wants to give out as a professional, because you spend so much money on making your van look good, having a clean van, looking the part and having all the right branded clothing and turning up smart and ironed, and then you jump in a diesel van. So he just has, and that's charged on Chatamo, and that is, you know, that's not a particularly good van, but it's local jobs, and he has that purely, he's got a little green plate on it, so when he turns up, he's turned up in an electric van, which is important to him.
There are other like sort of less, not the big headline stats, but for driving a van, when you're spending a lot of time in your van as well, which you are, to your office.
You never get out of it?
Not that often.
Updating the spreadsheet.
The EV driving experience, I know I get back more relaxed because you're not.
That's your
changing
invoicing.
gears.
That's your invoicing that's making you relax. You're doing it all, mate. God, I don't have to charge there, but I got a full charge and I charged. Yeah, it's like that's why you're relaxed.
But it really is. I mean, and again, EV drivers will know that it's a more relaxing way to drive around. And if you're spending a lot of time, you're getting back, and you're not. It's less stressful being in traffic or on the motorway driving an EV, and I think that's the kind of thing that sways people who are afraid of EVs until they actually try them, and then they go, oh, this is great.
It's just a car powered a different way. So when we first got we've had a couple of Renault Zoes over the years, and we've been driving EVs for a long time. But that's exactly what I found when I first drove it. I was expecting some sort of magical fairy dust thing where, like, I don't know, what is this crazy EV thing all about? It's just a car. It just happens to be powered by electricity. And so it sort of, all of that mystique dropped away the very minute it's like driving an automatic car, that you first go and you go, oh, it's just a car. So a couple of things to look out for. Why is there so much negativity towards EVs? And I can't explain that. People keep asking me that. The last 6 to 9 months, if you read a newspaper or if you read a sort of, I would say, legacy, but you know what I mean, like the Daily Mail's, Expresses, Sun's, the Mirrors of the world, I don't know if it's just because their business is based on clicks these days, you know, like the crazy headline, you won't believe what so-and-so said about this, click, and you think, oh, I've got to click on that, and then the story's crap. So I don't know whether those businesses just need your clicks anymore, but the most recent example I can think of is the Daily Mail just had to print on their corrections or retractions page, I think it was the Asphalt Association put out a press release about potholes, and the Daily Mail turned that into, well, EVs are heavier. So they published a story that said, EVs cause potholes. All this pothole problem you're seeing is all electric vehicles. And after a flood of complaints, and from trade bodies as well, the Daily Mail said, well, yeah, so we made that bit up. So then they had to print a retraction, and then the digital version on their website, they've removed from the headline the word electric vehicle and any references to EVs in the story, because that's not what this story was about, but they added that in. Now, is there an agenda? I don't think so. I don't think these journalists hate EVs. It's probably just because it attracts a sort of, I don't know, it's like when you pass a car crash, isn't it? You think, I've got to have a look. It's like people just click on EV hating stories. And it's fascinating me at the minute because a lot of people are buying into that and then taking sides almost. I think that's really toxic because we shouldn't be taking sides on how our cars and vans are powered. Life's too short for that. So look out for those stories, and when you read them, think, well, is that true or is it made up? Because there's so much misinformation and disinformation being powered there. That's not to say that there's not these sort of bigger, darker forces in the world. The oil industry is not going to disappear quietly. So maybe those stories are being placed by the oil industry. I don't know. I don't really care.
And the other problem is when these negative stories are published about EVs, the retraction's too late because the gullible people have already read it and they don't read the retractions.
Oh, you've got to throw the batteries away every 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
And they only go 50 miles.
Yeah.
Now, there's battery recycling around the world. A very famous example is the co-founder of Tesla, J.B. Straubel. He's got his own battery recycling company called Redwood these days, and he's left it. He's still on the board at Tesla.
There's one called Life Cycle. I'll tell you about that later.
Have you invested?
Yeah.
Forward life cycle. The biggest problem that these companies have all got, there's no feedstock. Because everyone's, the batteries will last maybe 8 to 10 years. They're going on way longer. All those original Teslas and Leafs and Zoes, which is what we had, the 3 cars we had 10, 15 years ago, well, they're still going. Like lithium-ion batteries are turning out to be way more robust, but that's not a sexy headline. That doesn't get clicks, and so no one's going to publish that story. But all the recycling schemes are set up, ready to go. All the big car makers, the OEMs, they've all got their own recycling programs. There's no feedstock yet, but there will be. And the whole idea about batteries going into landfill, it's ridiculous. The component parts inside those batteries are far too valuable to throw into the skip. So they will all be either used for second life, because you might need that battery to pull 100 kilowatts or 150 kilowatts, to propel a car, but a kettle's going to be 2 or 3 kilowatts. So actually that second life as a home battery, or that third life in 10 years as grid storage, well, these batteries are going to go on for so much longer, but that doesn't get talked about either. So there's a lot to dig into.
Yeah, and Nissan actually had it years ago, and I'm going back quite a while, about 5-6 years ago, they launched a second battery scheme with Eaton Electric. And they were going to take Nissan Leaf batteries, and they had it all set up the trials, but they stopped because there wasn't enough feedstock. They thought the cars would be coming back out of service, and they'd have all these batteries.
Park where they parked them all up and was powering over like a commercial building?
No, it was going to be. They tried it on people's houses, putting them in as home storage batteries. That was the plan. That was like the battery gets to 80% capacity, take it out, put it on the wall, and it can still.
I actually have a friend who's bought this.
There we go.
Oh, he's here.
We had a photo. He's been here all night. He's let us know he's got a friend. Oh, who's his friend? Who's your friend? Give your friend a shout out. You've only got one of them. You can't remember his name. Come on, who's your friend?
Dr. Ewan McTurk.
Now, does he live in this country? Is there a friend you sort of send letters to?
No, he lives in a little land called Scotland.
Oh, right.
And he bought a second-hand Nissan Leaf because it's got vehicle to grid, and he never drives it. It just sits on his drive as a large house battery, vehicle to grid battery. That's all it does.
And a free shed.
Yeah.
Put the Amazon parcels in.
Yeah, that's literally all he uses it for. It's just the other week he texted me saying, "Oh, I've got a damage on my bumper. How do I fix it?" I was like, "Why do you care? You never drive the car." And he's like, "Yeah, but sometimes I take it to the shops." But he's basically he's got a massive 20 kilowatt battery sat on his drive. That's he uses it to basically make money off the 7.5p you were whinging at before. But he charges it 7.5p and he discharges it 15p, and he runs the entire house off it. He never pays any peak electric.
So what is your tank of diesel to fill it up then?
Well, we now know why he ain't got many friends. That bloke has not got a plethora of mates, has he?
We've not established if he's real.
You know full well who he is.
He emails me sometimes. He asks me to send him money, and I do.
He's got a relative who's recently passed away.
You'll get to meet one day.
Yeah. So what's your diesel tank to fill up on the eFIXX van?
Depending on the price, it keeps moving around. So I like it to be less than 100. It's heartbreaking. Right. So when you get clobbered on a motorway, which is very rare occasionally, you're well over 100. But if we say 95 quid from near empty,
95 plus £12 of Starbucks.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then
me up as well.
And then what range would 95 quid get?
Well, the coffee to the next Starbucks. That's normally that's how far they're apart. So I don't really look. So I can pretty much do there and back, and I don't often, if I use it at the weekend too, because I have to nip to my mum because the wife's going out in the car, because I just like to leave it there. Once I get it parked in my street, you don't really want to move it. It's one of them. Yeah, it's like London, my street, apart from it's a leafy village, because if you do move, you never get back in. So yeah, I can do there and back, and a little bit of driving, and then I'll fill up effectively coming back again. So when I get home.
So that's not why I asked you. I said, how many miles do you get out of it?
Let's say 450 off for guessing for the numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, which is probably twice what an EV would get you.
Yep.
And if you rapid charge only on an EV at 90p, and you use a 100 kilowatt hour battery, you're spending 90 quid to get half the range. So it's all about where you charge it as well. Overnight cheap rate, home solar, that kind of stuff.
But this is a good discussion, because
Good.
a lot of
What a boring show this is. It's a terrible discussion. What a waste of time.
Have you guys done this before, by the way?
It's like the plan some of this out as well. There's some slides that come in at right times as well. You imagine the effort that Gordon's put in. Go on then.
so I forgot what I was saying.
This bit's not good, is it?
So with an EV, it's very easy to tell how much it costs per mile. It's almost, the car almost gives you that. And a petrol car or a diesel car, it's very difficult you have to do a lot of maths to work out how much it costs per mile to run.
Yeah.
You're the man though, aren't you?
Because you buy your petrol in litres, but it gives it you in miles per gallon. So you have to do that conversion. So working it out, a lot of people don't actually know how much they spend in fuel per mile. Whereas in an EV, it's very obvious. And I think that's one of the things that people, it doesn't, when you know how much it is per kilowatt hour, how many miles per kilowatt hour you get out your EV, people don't, there's no context to put it against, because you don't have a solid understanding of how much your diesel or petrol car costs to run.
No.
To be honest, it comes with all green energy tech. Once someone goes into green energy, solar, EV, they tend to understand the costs of energy, of everything, very easy. It's like most people, when they get solar panels, the first thing they get is an air fryer, isn't it, Gary?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Now, talking about great comments, let's see if there are some great comments. Come all the way from another part of the world. Let's jump back over to Nick and see how we're doing. How are we doing, Nick?
Yeah, we're doing well. Some good comments again.
Come on in, give us those good comments.
Yeah, some testaments to EV, 110,000 miles by Azura Electrical. So,
Yep.
yeah, it's a testament to see the batteries again. I think there's a few comments we've all made that the batteries lasted a lot longer than everyone anticipated. So yeah, it's encouraging to see.
Yeah, Zuri Electrical, big EV. He came around my house in a Tesla. His wife is absolutely gorgeous. I have to get that in there. He is well above his station for his. Unlike yourself, whoever gets you, Nick, they'll actually be the one raising up the bar with their person in their life.
Somebody's got to do it.
And how's married life?
Yeah, awesome.
You had a awesome. You did, but let's do that again. Take two. So Nick, how's married life?
Even better.
Yeah. Is it awesome? In that one tone, awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Talking of married life, how long will it be before you get engaged, Junior?
About 10 years.
Yeah. Oh, hopefully Molly's joining in because she's now looking through her phone book, seeing who else is in there that's a bit more keen.
That's right, 'cause I don't think she's watching, but if she is.
Oh, she don't think she'll be watching, eh? Yeah, you'll be surprised.
It's nearly 10 o'clock, guys.
Is it nearly 10 o'clock? Nick, give us a wave then, Rick. Right, okay, back in the show. So we're back over here, folks.
To crack on. I've just got, we've got just on the round off on Lee's charging costs, actually. We've got the slide
Another spreadsheet, haven't we?
Another spreadsheet there, pulled up there.
Seen that one?
Yeah.
So, no, we haven't. It's different.
So you spend...
Same colours, though.
So this is
What's the colour palette for this one?
He's made sure he's got his logo on there. You've got to give him that.
It's the biggest thing on there. It's the only thing you can read. Here we go, then.
So this is just a breakdown in terms of the cost rather than the mileage. So you can see how much the rapid charging, for example, takes up a big portion of the cost,
which is
a small portion of the mileage.
Ah, right,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that shows the difference. If you're smart about how you charge your EV, charging at home, how the majority of charging can actually cost a small percentage of its mileage.
Which is the stolen bit.
Well, it's not there because it's free.
Of course, it wouldn't make it, would it?
It's the orange bit that you can't see.
Little math lesson there for you, Gary.
Right, we'll crack on. So we'll come back to this.
We'll come
back to this. We'll come back to this because did you buy your van?
Yes.
You did?
Yeah.
Cash?
Yes.
Used notes?
Well, I had a loan, a cheap loan.
Cheap loan from the wife?
Business loan, wasn't it? You explained it to yourself.
Was it a director's loan? It was a
post-COVID government incentive loan.
That sounds like a grant, doesn't it?
Very good.
Right, okay, so what we got here then? So it's all right, it's a bit of rumbling in the background. We okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. It's just a bit of rumbling. You know, someone's unplugged. Strangers come in. Who wants to charge now? I've heard on the telly everyone can plug in here for free.
Saw it on the live stream.
Yeah.
But a lot of people lease the vans, so I asked some people for some leasing price, and I've got to thank Mark.samways at Fleece Fleet Alliance for this. That's a
Fleet or fleece.
His email is in the description if you want to be fleeced on the fleet. No, I think there's some. So let's have a look. So this was interesting. This is the first one. This is your favourite e-Transit, Martyn. There. So on the left-hand side there, we've got the diesel version. And at the minute, he says they're out of the market at the minute. They're charging £750 a month to lease that. I did this on 20,000 miles a year lease. But their electric van you can lease for, 50 quid a month more.
And with your fuel cost savings, you're going to be saving so much money.
You'd struggle to not make that difference up.
Yeah.
Well, especially with 20,000 miles a year, you'd absolutely smash that out of the park.
Yeah, and those lease prices are fully maintained as well. So if you say stuff's heavier on...
Unless you need to do 1,000 miles a day, in which case buy the diesel one, because that's where we are at the minute with EVs.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So that was the one. And then I had a look at, this was quite surprising. So this is the Maxus, as we used to call it, the LDV. So he says the leader in terms of if you want a low-cost diesel van, that's their prices. And then the electric one is
that's because the residuals on Maxus vans, especially the electric ones, isn't very good.
As you were selling for 20 grand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's reflected in the lease price.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
So the lease price, the price of a lease car, the more it's worth second hand, obviously, the cheaper it would be technically per month.
Yeah.
But picking one of those up second hand, if you're a sole trader, there could be.
Well, are these 2-year contracts or 3-year contracts?
It's a 3-year contract.
So 60,000 mile Maxus van, 3 years old, out of warranty. You're not going to get many people who want to buy that out of warranty. Let's be honest. But the other van, there's Ford Transit. You'll buy a Ford Transit out of warranty because lots of parts. And that's what it'll be. It's just about the residuals.
So that's going to be the challenge for all these new brands coming to the market.
Yeah. That's going to be the big challenge. You've already seen it with a lot of the brands which are smaller in cars, which is, the less people are more snobby with used cars than they are with new cars. So new cars, people look at the monthly price and that's all they care about. But used people who buy used cars, they are the snobby ones. They're the people who are, oh, I don't want to buy that badge. They tend to be the more snobby customers, the second-hand customers.
Right.
You did have it with the Japanese manufacturers and the Korean manufacturers, and once that confidence has been built up and buyers have that confidence, the residuals...
Yeah, the residuals will go. I mean, EV's had a difficult year because a lot of things happened in the EV industry that have made residuals poor. So we had the energy crisis that pushed up prices, so EVs went from being extremely cheap to run to being less cheap, so the gap closed during the energy crisis, especially because most people would compare the energy price they paid rather than, say, an off-peak deal from all the other energy companies that are 7.5, 5p. In fact, one of them's 5p now.
You got a link for in the description?
No. Just to let you know, Octopus yesterday got announced as the largest energy company in the UK.
Yeah.
They overtook British Gas, which, you know, considering they were a new energy company, 7 years ago, no one even heard of them. Yeah. And now they are. Yeah, they sent me a little letter yesterday telling me I was one of their first 8,000 customers. It was quite impressive.
There you go. Still haven't sorted my smart meter out, but that's another story.
He's still not. He's still struggling. Oh my word! we thought we'd put that bad boy to bed.
I think you should stay away from smart meters. You're quite unlucky for them.
Oh.
No, I don't want to. I know we did tease at the start that we were going to give away some plane tickets.
Hold on, there's one more leased van to look at.
There they are. Look at them. Look at those handsome chappos.
And the last one was the one, obviously, there isn't a one to compare against because this is they don't have a diesel equivalent.
What I mean,
it's a good price.
That is
a great price.
So again, this is fully maintained.
At 20,000 miles a year?
Yeah.
That's cheap.
Can I have one of them to drive around?
That is.
Well, our diesel van is up for renewal at the end of this year.
Is it?
So, yeah.
Needs that door sorting?
Yeah, well, just
I don't think we can hide it. That's busting at that number, isn't it? Imagine zipping around in what? Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah, well, I think they're a really smart-looking van, isn't it? I mean, that's
there was a camper van, everything electric. A version of that turned into it was very expensive, 100 grand, but it was beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it reminds you of like the old sort of like beach buggies that VW used to have. I think that's the shape it's got. It's beautiful.
Oh wow! I just want my ID buzz now. When's the end of the year? Unfortunately, eFIXX end of it will be. Oh, it's a 4-year lease. We didn't realise. We read it wrong a bit.
Yeah. So someone's saying someone's got a Vauxhall. So I don't know if it's an electric. I haven't said there. At 525 plus VAT with a 6k deposit and 10k miles a year. So that one there is, I think that's a better deal. So yeah. Mark's email is in the description. There is no discount code for us.
But what are the chances? We don't get anything.
But we'll hanker after a new VW Buzz.
Yeah, no, that sounds great to me.
Later in the year. That was the one there. So you're right, Gary. We have got another giveaway because people saying we are coming up to. Actually, we have been on for an incredible 2 hours.
Yeah, but we're enjoying ourselves.
We are enjoying it.
It's almost like you've got Martyn and obviously Gary here at the same time.
Yep. I mean, we knew
we're going to do our own spin-off show at some point.
Plenty of air, but obviously for the loyal viewers who obviously tune in every week, we're going to give you heads up on a fantastic competition. We are giving away 10 seats on the plane.
Oh, we're going to be able to go, today you got a ticket on the plane. Let's play the VT. Let's see how you do it. How would you like to join me and Rick on a trip to Dublin, Ireland? We're not one for stealing ideas here at eFIXX. However, this video could be the happiest minute of your week.
And if you're lucky, you might land a seat next to me on the plane. But if you draw the short straw, you'll be sat next to Gaz.
Some say it's hard work visiting Dublin, Ireland, but I'm willing to take the risk. Are you? We've got 10 tickets on the plane up for grabs. These lucky winners will get to experience the new Robust Visitor Centre and get a sneak peek at some exciting new products in the works.
Oh, that's really bright, isn't it?
We'll also enjoy a meal out at the bustling Temple Bar and tour of a well-known factory that make delicious liquid refreshments.
To enter this competition and join in on the fun with me, Gaz, and the team from Robust, click the link in the bio or description. Terms and conditions apply, so pack your bags and I'll see you in Dublin. Ta-da.
Wow.
So there's 10 seats. The way it works, we're going to announce 5 winners on the next eFIXX TV.
In 2 weeks?
In 2 weeks, where we've got the team from Robust across and 2 Irish electricians who hold the Stripped Back podcast. Okay. So we're going to learn a little bit about what actually happens in the Irish electrical market.
Although technically between those 5 winners, you're going to have one loser because someone has to sit next to Gary, like you said.
There is, if there's 2, could be 2. He might be in the middle seat. So, I think
So that's only 5. When do the next 5 get
and
announced?
then we'll ask the ones on the 29th, which is at the end of the month, when we've got Graham Kenyon in to look at that new pass standard that came in.
Oh,
So
2 cracking episodes
So
back to back.
two cracking ones. And obviously Graham was instrumental in a lot of pulling that together, so he'll have a lot of the answers, and obviously the new IET Energy Code of Practice for battery storage as well. But to win,
Go on, tell me how
there
I
is you're in early. There is a link in the description that'll take you to the competition. When you've got to answer 3 questions about our videos that we made about Robus. Hint: watch the video. The answer is in there.
Yeah.
And then there's just a little tiebreaker question: how you feel you would benefit from a trip to go and see Robus in Ireland. Now, so you can make that funny, make us laugh, do whatever you want, but you've got to get the 3 questions right first, and then we'll dive into the tiebreaker. Obviously, hopefully would benefit from the trip. Apparently they do make Guinness in Dublin.
Is that the
and I think there could be a tour around the Guinness storehouse.
What are the chances? And it's me and Rick. So we're sacrificing ourselves at the 30 and the 30 awards. We think, we're not sure. We're going to be trying to do that. We're incredibly excited about coming. I spend a lot of time with Rick out of the team here at the studios, and this will be our first chance to go out and obviously communicate with the community in a setting that probably best fits both of us, I would suggest. So we'll be doing that, which is now. However, the names that come out will come out however they come out, and if it happens to be loyal followers on the live stream, then well done to you. Hint, hint. Get over there, start filling it in. I would suggest we've given you a early heads up. So obviously you can get yours in. Maybe we take the first 10, maybe we take 1, 7, 19 and 48, but get over there, get it filled in. And again, maybe you know somebody else that would benefit from it, put it in a group chat, share the words and get as many people as you want to obviously nominate themselves in. But first of all, you might want to grab yourself a cheeky £100.
Yeah.
Because that's in there as well, and that's guaranteed for everyone. That's not luck. You've only got to fill out your first order. And are you going to do it, Lee?
Straight away.
Well, we're going to finish this first, hopefully, yeah, and then we'll do it straight away before we go home. We just stole all our electricity. Yeah, it's all good. That's uber exciting. So, and it's John Ford, isn't it, coming on with us?
It is John Ford, yeah.
Is Tiff coming as well? I can't remember the second chair is.
I don't know if she is.
Oh, okay, so John Ford follows me around on eFIXX College Connections. So this is a great opportunity. He said he wants to return the favour and take me out in Ireland for an evening. So that should be a big mess. And you're coming on with it. So there's plenty of photographs across socials.
Yeah,
I'm in a world
and obviously a bit like when you go to Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. That won't be the case this one. What happens on that trip will be sprayed all over Instagram, social media, LinkedIn, YouTube. Yeah,
plenty of opportunities when we're there to do live streams. Plenty of opportunities to see the great innovations that they got at Robus. You'll get an early heads up as well, which is excellent. So you'll see what we saw behind the scenes and what happens there as well. So that'd be great. They're putting on some special talks and masterclasses as well as the tour, and an amazing meal out. That meal is unbelievable, isn't it? And how much is it going to cost the people to come on the trip?
Nothing. So they're funding the flight, the hotel, and obviously all your food, and you might have a drink when you're over there. Apparently they make Guinness there.
Okay.
So the
refreshing liquid beverage.
Is that an overnight stay as well?
Yes.
Yeah, we're overnight. Yeah.
Is that your own room? Are you going to top and tail with
Gary?
No.
I think you get to escape from Gary overnight.
Okay.
Obviously, what you do. Personally, you can message Gary.
Some sort of bunk up arrangement just to keep.
We're not selling it now, lads. It's not the trip they thought it was.
That's incredible. Wow.
Keep going, because the longer you talk, the quicker we can end the show and finish what Gordon's dying to do.
No.
So we give our audience an opportunity to be winners. So that means they get more money.
Yes.
They get a chance to fly around the world with Rick, which must be amazing. Now, in life, there are winners and there are losers.
Yeah.
The easiest way to build wealth, according to every single YouTube video I watch on wanting to retire, is to invest in something like an ETF. Effectively, you buy the whole global stock market by buying a little bit of everyone, of which they prioritise the bigger companies down to the very smallest ones. You've got a spread bet where you're betting on every single horse in the race. So effectively, over the long term, not the short term, this is not investment advice, by the way, I am not an investment expert, but it's pretty logical. If you own all the tickets in a raffle and you're prepared to stay in the raffle for 10, 20, 30 years, historically, your money has increased. You'd have to be an absolute crayon to lose any money on shares. And we're lucky enough to be joined by our very own crayon this evening, as we've got the reverse of Warren Buffett. So we're going to just mention a few.
Let's just have a look at Arrival. So if you didn't see Arrival, this looks absolutely gorgeous when they first came to the market with this This one here. There we go. This was the plan to the arrival. Look at that. That's the kind of van we want to see on the road. Something of a whiff of the future there, isn't there?
I've actually been in that.
Well, there you go. And I think how many did they actually build?
One.
Yeah. But that didn't stop them floating on the stock market, did it? Now, yeah. So you were raving about this company. And if anyone drove down, I think it's the M4. Did they used to have a building down there?
Yeah. I own the A.
Yeah, product. So obviously, let's have a look at the share price performance. So obviously, hype and expectation. So Nick,
in there, isn't there?
at which point did you buy the shares?
So you see that big flat line?
Yeah.
Yeah. You see where it went up?
Yeah.
And then it went down again?
Yeah.
See the bit at the top on the left?
Yeah.
That bit there.
All right. So you thought, price has dropped. I'm going to get in here.
Yes.
So just off.
No. I bought them before they dropped. I bought them at the high point.
Okay.
The summit, we call it. Yeah, he got on top of that mountain.
Okay.
He was all over the hype at that moment in time.
Yeah.
That is a very sharp line going up,
Yeah.
and that is the biggest red flag in the world. And that if it's doubled or trebled or whatever it's done in a short period of time.
It was only a small investment.
So for
I think people normally say
£6,000
buy low, sell high. I think it's the normal.
Yeah, but that's Warren Buffett's rule.
Yeah.
No, his actual rule is to never lose money is his first rule, and his second rule is never forget the first rule. There is two rules. That's Warren Buffett's rules. That's how much financial stuff I've listened to in the last 2 years. But your rule's similar. It's buy high, sell either low or let them go. Because you actually never got to sell your Arrival shares. They just disintegrated.
Well, no. The company that I buy and sell shares through, when Arrival got delisted from the stock market, they sold my shares for me and told me, here you go, from your £6,000, here is 25p.
So you took £6,000 and you couldn't even buy a Mars bar with that money?
Yes.
Did you keep the 20? I'd have to frame the 20. It was obviously a transfer. I'd have had to take 25p out and actually.
Well, I bought some more shares with the money, obviously.
Yeah. So
Okay,
at that point, it was their very highest moment. So
At least if you'd set fire to it, it would have
you
kept
got
you
warm.
warm.
Yeah, hands would have been warm for a little while. So just suck that moment in, folks. £6,000. Now we can all, as gamblers, there'll be another story when he made $1 million, but we're not. Yeah. But we took. Can you imagine walking in the living room, Lee? And remember that kitchen we were going to have or that holiday? I've managed to turn it into shrapnel.
The Freddo the Frog.
I bet you'd only get one of them now. They used to
Let's
be
have a look at the one.
12
Okay, Rivian. Nick,
big company, Rivian.
Oh, Rivian.
No,
great,
hang on.
great.
Let's defend him here. Jeff Bezos and the boys, early into Rivian. Lots of money in. This is the next Tesla. No, they thought it was better than Tesla.
Yep.
And
So
obviously,
Rivian, really, Martin's friend's got a Rivian.
Have a
He
look
loves
at
it,
that
doesn't
one
he?
on screen, John.
He does enjoy it.
Yeah, he does.
So Rivian.
Sadly, the stock price
Yeah.
not so good.
Yeah.
Where did you buy in, Nick?
So you see where it dipped at the bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah, when it went back up again, I bought there.
So just near the 100 mark, is it?
Yes, so not the start of the line where it's
Yeah.
really high, about 120.
Yeah.
When it just went to about 115, that's when I bought.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
so it's $115 US. Are we in dollars here?
Yeah.
So 95 quid.
Yeah.
So you bought them at £95 a share. How many pounds were we in for on this one?
Let's just move on.
No. We got all the time in the world. We've overshot by about half an hour already. Let's hear the number.
I need to go home. That's
that's
fine. The wife might be watching.
She's not watching this, let's be honest.
No, she wants a new sofa. Let's not talk anymore. I've already spent a lot of her money today on other things.
So obviously you put a stop loss in because you learnt from your Arrival mistake.
No.
So when it drops to a threshold that you're unhappy, but you'll take your money back at that stage, it automatically sells and you just see the money appear in your bank.
No.
So what did you? So the shares are still trading.
Yeah.
Okay. I think they're in for another round of funding.
I might as well just stick out until they go bust now. I mean, I like shrapnel. It's fun. You know, it's nice to collect shrapnel.
So not telling us what you paid, but you can tell us what they're worth.
Yeah.
Roughly what they're worth today. Roughly.
Tenner?
At least it's a note.
Right.
Still set fire today. Yeah, they're warm.
Yeah.
You're like a magician with money, aren't you? There can't be any more of these, can there?
Next, let's have a look. I've got the last one here. Let's have a look at Neo. So Neo, Chinese manufacturer of cars.
Did you, Nick?
Yeah, of course I bought some
There's
Neo.
a 60 in the middle there. I doubt you were anywhere near that.
So you see the first ramp up,
Yeah.
and then they dip really
Yeah.
low,
Yeah.
and then there's a second ramp up,
Yeah.
and then they went back down again.
Yeah.
Well, before they went back down, I bought them then.
Right. Okay.
Again, at the summit, I would suggest you are the. I'll tell you what you are good at predicting. It's peak share price.
Do you know what? When I buy shares, that's when you should sell.
Yeah.
So I will text you every time I buy a share, and that's when you can sell what you've got.
Wow, that is not good.
Stings.
There is a thing in the stock market. Whenever someone in the world builds a massive skyscraper, there's always a crash afterwards. So like the Burj Khalifa went up in Dubai, stock market crashed after the Petronas Towers, Malaysia. Bang. So there's obviously a new one now. Whenever Nick buys in, you're doomed.
I mean, to be fair, Tesla shares.
No.
I was in very. Let's talk about a win at least.
We'll get to your whiff of no. So let's go to this Neo. Are you still own them?
Yes.
Yeah. Till they're unownable, which is fine. Do you get to keep the share certificates, or you just digitally?
No, I'm digital.
So you only got the pleasure of owning a certificate.
No.
How much are they currently worth today, roughly?
Oh, I can't remember peanuts. Was it not on there? 472.
Yeah, but how many shares you've got? So if you've got one share,
not many. I barely bought any.
It's a good 10 to 1. It's a factor of 10 down again. I'd say they're probably 6.
yeah.
I don't know. Probably
10 to 1.
Probably 15, 20 quid of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any others?
I think that's.
What about Ford? Let's pick a company that you can't really.
It's an established company.
Yeah, established company. You've probably got some Ford shares. Agreed?
Yeah, I got some. Yeah.
Yeah. So nobody can lose money on Ford. Okay. He invented the 5-day week. That bloke, didn't he? He invented effectively the conveyor belt system for productivity.
Fantastic.
All over it. So how much are you up on your Ford shares?
Well, I'm down, obviously.
Okay. So much down percentage-wise? Just a percentage? 40%, 30%?
35.
So that's nearly 40%. So whatever you put in, you toasted another 40% of that money.
Yes.
Okay. What about? Let's do the Tesla story.
Tesla's been a bit of a roller coaster. So I bought Tesla very early days.
So you can't help but win.
And I sold them and made, I think, 20 grand altogether. And then they carried on going up.
Oh dear.
And they carried on going up. And they carried on going up. And I could have paid my mortgage off if I kept them at the high point.
Yeah, but you don't.
And then I text Martyn going, God, these Tesla shares are way overpriced. Martyn went, yeah, they are. And then they carried on going up and carried on going up. So I thought, I better buy some. So I did. And then they went down.
And percentage-wise, because obviously £20,000 for lots of people, including myself, not you, limited company owner, but that's a lot of money.
Oh, it's a lot of money, yeah.
So how much of the lot of money went back in now so you made sure you lose a lot of money?
Well, Arrival got 6 grand of it.
Yeah. So okay, but so you had 20 out of Tesla, you went back in.
Yeah.
What are you back in at? Because you haven't sold them.
Oh, I didn't buy many. So I'm technically slightly up.
And on the investment you're on now?
Yeah, I'm technically slightly up.
That's a gambler's way of saying I'm miles down on this one. No, we're not 14, are we? Oh, you're really technically the same.
It's breaking my heart.
Yeah.
It is breaking my heart.
Life cycle?
Yeah, they recycle batteries, but there's a small problem with recycling EV batteries.
There isn't any to recycle.
There isn't any to recycle, so they're down as well. Yeah, they're down.
Are they down a lot?
60%, I think.
Oh, Nick.
Have you ever owned any shares with Nick?
Not what, in electric cars?
Well,
No.
just any shares with Nick. Did you ever?
With Nick?
So as in, he's gave you some great advice and maybe you've rushed down and bought some Arrival shares.
Absolutely not.
You didn't buy any Arrival
No,
shares?
I never bought any Arrival shares.
Do you know what?
I've had...
It's a good job I never recommended anyone to buy them.
Loads of your mates lost money, didn't they? Yeah, and
How's he still smiling?
has he got any mates? That's more important, he hasn't got any teeth.
I know. Oh my gosh.
You tried to convince me, didn't you? To buy them?
What's funny, the guy who convinced me to buy them, right, when they started going downhill, he then decided
Did he get any lucky
he then decided to drive from the North Pole to the South Pole, so he was about as far away from me as I could throttle him. And he's the nicest guy on the planet as well. But I really wanted to kill him at that point because he kept he goes, oh, buy more. So I kept investing more money. So I kept digging myself a bigger hole.
Not surprised with all that referral code action on his website. He's trying to dig himself out, isn't he? If you're not with Octopus yet, by the way, Nick's got a referral code, 50 quid.
Yeah, he needs it, by the looks of things.
You won't eat tonight otherwise.
Have you got an ETF? Have you got a mutual fund?
ETFs, spread betting, really good idea, really safe investment. So I bought, obviously, in clean green energy. So people who don't understand, you can buy effectively a group of anything. So if you said, I want a shares of group of green energy, if I want oil companies, if I want the best dividend stocks in the world, you can buy blocks of these. Yeah, so that's what I did.
Yeah, so you bought green energy. Love it.
Yeah,
So
green energy.
How's that doing?
It's 45% down.
Wow.
There you go. Lost more pounds than Gary.
Oh, I love it. Let's mention it again, folks. I got under 13 stone. I wanted to just get under it once. I did have a heavy week on the red stuff last weekend, and I haven't weighed myself this week. If I'm about 13 stone, I'll be had a good week. Yeah, lost as much, as many pounds as Gaz.
So there we go. So there, you come to, yes, so people should, Nick should start an investment YouTube channel.
Has he got a YouTube channel?
Jordan Belfort would be proud.
So I'm going to start a new channel. It's going to be called Nick's Anti-Investment Advice, and every week I'll advise people what shares I'm buying so they can avoid them
at all costs.
Yeah.
Wow. Take some, but again, to be that consistent with actually investing,
it's a skill
in itself.
It's a skill.
It comes some abuse, hopefully.
They do say the way to become a millionaire is start an airline as a billionaire, isn't it? And it's all the money. So.
It's fantastic. We've got an amazing audience. We've got an amazing amount of people that follow us, but we couldn't do this without amazing guests. And tonight we have got amazing guests. Over in Comments Corner for the last time, we've got Nick Tucker. Nick, any more comments coming in that we need to be made aware of as you've come from a different country?
Well, no, all in the same language, so we're safe. But yeah, I think it's Nick's investment advice has taken precedent.
What's that last one that's just come in, Nick? There's one that's just dropped in there.
It's dropped in. What have we got there? So remember, we're already laughing. Nick's trying to. Which one is he?
Oh, the next advise Liz Trust.
Short selling.
Short.
Wonderful.
Oh, fantastic. And as always, folks, he never gets enough credit, and I'll give him as much credit as you do. The short videos you watch today were conjured up by the brain and the ability to edit videos from our great Joe. So, Joe over in the corner, give yourself a wave. Joe, bring yourself in. This bloke is an absolute genius, and I think if he ever comes and says to me he's moving on, I'm going to cry and leave with him. He's an absolute asset, not only to us as a business, but himself as a person, and we thank him for all his hard work again this week. Also, Rick up in the corner, so give us a wave, Rick, so I'll bring in hand cam so you can give us a wave. Rick decided not to come to college today, and he's had a mega late one, and me and him will be doing something exciting probably in the future, but not tomorrow. Okay, that's what we'll be doing. And our great guests, we've got the legend that is Martyn Lee.
Oh,
You've got legendary status. You fit EV chargers for a living. So thank you ever so much for obviously the very long journey from Poole, is it?
Yeah, that's it, up from Poole, down by the seaside and the boats.
And you're going back tonight, you want to get there, nice touch, so you want to be there when your children come down for breakfast. Let's hope it's not at 5 o'clock so you won't not make it.
Absolutely, yeah, I got a 2 and a 6, and so I have no idea what time either of those will get up. But once one is up, the other one will be up. And I like being around at breakfast time, because that's the best thing about working for yourself, is that you can be your own boss and take your kids to school. So that's going to be my... Nick was like, stay over, get a hotel, crash. You kindly offered your spare room. That was all very kind. I said, no, I'll get back to Dorset and wake up the kiddies in the morning. So there you go.
That's great. And Lee, it's been great. You got here early. We had a right laugh, didn't we? When
Yes,
you
we
got
did,
here, it was
yeah,
very
yeah.
good. You give me a new mug as well. Let's give the shout out for the mug. Unfortunately, I'm left-handed, so you're not going to get much advertising. But obviously, you're right-handed, so I'm not going to drink it that way.
get both sides.
What a substantial vessel to drink out of as well. So thank you for not going for the cheaper ones when you did those.
You're going to have to, not surprised, you have to stop all the time in the van. You're drinking them all day.
You know, they say about little people, obviously big bladders. Oh, wow. So, it's good.
It's been brilliant.
No, thank you. No, it's great. And we only met each other once on that show, but I'd watched some of your stuff and I didn't know whether we'd met in person. When we go, we've met in person before, haven't we? It was like, yes. So, watching your stuff as well. YouTube channel, do you want to give one last push? No, thank you. So let's go.
Morzak. If you just Google Morzak, Morzak, you'll find it.
It's in the description as well.
It's in the
Put in
description
there. Everyone's at EV News Daily and Nick's channel. Yes, it's all in the show notes.
Is my octopus link in there?
Your octopus link isn't in there, but there's 2 fantastic links to win our competitions.
So obviously, so you joined us. We've done some collaborative videos together, and it's always been great. And you've always been a good sport. And I think, personally and deep down, you probably like the fact that the step's named after you. I would be bustingly made up if something like that was named after me, son.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, I'm the first person to ever use the step, and you did say, does anyone ever take the mick out of anything from you? And I said, yes, they always take the piss out of them. I'm sure, and you've made sure that you've never let me forget that.
Okay,
Yeah,
no worries.
that's good.
It's good.
And Martin, just on EV News Daily, one question I've got there, right? You've got a sponsor, you've got a few sponsors, some fantastic, and we obviously we've got a leaderboard there, we've got our wall there. We like to take, sort of expand upon what other people have done. I think we've got there's no such thing as a calibrated arm. Don't know where that came from.
No idea. No, inspiration.
Yeah, we actually start our news.
You like to pinch ideas off other people.
Borrow.
Inspire.
Stolen with pride. Yeah. I think is what someone once told me on that. You've got a sponsor. One of the ones who comes up. We love the sponsor reel at the end because we used to reel them off. Yeah. A lower charge on the Hawaiian mainland. Yeah. Do you need anyone to go out and just do a bit of relationship with the customer for them?
So whilst he's top and tail in Dublin, we could just pop Hawaii.
Hawaii,
Get them back on. Get them back on.
Yeah, we need to go and see a lower charge on the Hawaiian mainland.
Let's do it.
It's just fishing in a different pod of sponsors. It's fantastic.
We'll go to Porsche on the Village on the way back. So there we go.
On the way back. I'd love to think that you're going to do after this live stream, you're going to jump into the comments because there's £100 sitting there waiting for you. Download the app, follow it through, terms and conditions apply. You can only do it once effectively. Fill it in, place your order. Remember, when you put it in your basket, it will also then give you the best price. So sometimes what you think's in your basket actually drops down in price depending on where it is and what the stock is. So that's a fantastic little touch as well. Just a heads up, there will be a little bit of postage and the VAT is always on these things. If you're VAT registered, you're not bothered anyhow. So just remember that. And if you only make your purchase just over 100 quid, you're going to get most of it for free apart from that postage. So that seems like a good deal. But if you want to join me and Rick on the plane, you've got to answer 3 incredibly easy questions from videos that we've done before. If you're unsure, just go back and watch those Robust videos. They're ever so easy to find on our eFIXX YouTube channel. Robust have their own playlist, so you'll be able to dive in.
They're all in the form.
Yeah. Oh, you put them on the form as well?
They're all dead easy.
Right.
No excuses.
Made it incredibly easy.
Yeah.
And there is a trip to a Guinness factory. People out there that love Guinness might want to join us on that trip. You've got to fill the form in and hopefully on that random system become one of our lucky winners.
And I would say one of the best steaks I've had in a long time out there.
Since last year.
Yeah, big tomahawk steak. It was like, wow. I was digesting it for a week afterwards.
So, as we started the show, we'll end the show in exactly the same way. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name isn't Martyn Lee, and this is not EV News Daily, but he's been on the show tonight. It's been a personal pleasure and a massive tick for both me and Gordon's box to get him on. And considering that Paul in Dorset is a little bit further away than you think, it's been fantastic. But without you lot in the comments and Comments Corner, where we had Nick Tucker and the great team at eFIXX, we couldn't bring this show with you every fortnight. And in 2 weeks' time, we will be naming 5 lucky winners. We've given you the biggest head start we can because you're our loyal followers. And if you have commented this week, you might find yourself starting to appear in the end credits as well. We know we're taking a huge amount of time. That's selfishly because we wanted a long one tonight, folks. We have been trying to keep it a little bit shorter. When you're having this much fun and allegedly at work, you've got to comment for us. We say, good night, I'll go to bed. But, so we're always 2 minutes behind on the comments. We thank everyone that makes this possible. And without them and you watching, whether it be now or on catch-up, we couldn't do this show every fortnight. So thank you ever so much. And it's good night from Team eFIXX.